Topical and atypical. Unfiltered and independent. 100% authentic and intelligent.
All right. Are y'all ready? Bust out your Amanda Lander notebook, get your word of the day logbook, and let's get into it. Don't forget, after the show, our SEAL Squad members head on over to Patreon for the after show kickback, where we talk about all the things that went on in the show and how to turn it into action. You ready? Amanda Lander! Learn.
Beyond the limitations of everything that has been put in front of us.
If Miss Araminta Harriet Tubman came back down here, would she shoot you? Pop, pop! Here, nigga!
Damn!
But our ancestors did not desire to be white. They simply wanted to be free. That Emancipate Proclamation. Oh, y'all say want to be free. Oh my God. Can anybody here name a coon that we need to address? Clarence Thomas, what was that? Senator Booker.
Solomon.
Well, it says that you're only valuable if you can capitalize or be used to increase capital. In other words, Black excellence will not save us. Because like there's Toyota and Hyundai, but why we ain't seen a Keisha XL Turbo? With a satin headrest. So often we see the Black Panthers in pics toting guns and hear about them in the context of their forceful resistance, right? The Panthers were this and so much more. Where's my beret? Happy Juneteenth! Here, nigga!
Damn!
Yo, it's me, MC Checkerho, checking all the bitches. I'm checking all the hoes.
It was a time, B. It was a time.
Keep those pesky blacks in their place. Our bodies and minds have been colonized. Like every day that we fail to empathize, we are willfully being used as tools for our own demise. And anyone telling you that caring for others has been our weakness doesn't know what strength is. I am forever indebted to Palestine. Well, I was known to lead folks to freedom. Somebody get this woman some water.
Till they get punched in the face.
You're like, there's more?
Yes. I don't know what it is that you've done to me.
Frederick Douglass, 2 S's. Hey! You know, just a sidebar since we're live. Oiled up the Bugatti, but I don't do Diddy parties. I don't know if I'ma make it.
We are stardust.
Millions didn't make it. All right. We are not the conclusion. Okay, can you hear me? 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 Okay. Hold on. We were having technical difficulties, but we're good now. Okay. People. Getting a lot of noise on my mic. It's another day in the world. That's what it is. It's another day in the world. And here we are. Welcome to Views for Amanda Land. Your news and truths by any joke necessary.
I still haven't gotten my new seal calendar, so I will be contacting the organization that I donate to. Like, where my seal calendar at? Where's my seal calendar at? Oh, y'all like my sweater? Oh, this whole thing. These are shoes. These are speed birds. See that? See that? You know, we got the Africa tap-in going on today. So I figured I would give y'all some African vibrance in my wardrobe. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things today, like as always. So let's take a look. We're going to talk about Ilhan Omar being attacked. We got to talk about Trump, who does not second the Second Amendment. We are going to talk about this thing called Panopticon in Palestine, which sounds like exactly what you would think. Just terrible. We also got to talk about TikTok. So all these things are going to be in our 60-second headlines. For our Level Us Up, we're going to do a center ground shield, because again, we can't just know the information. We got to also understand the indigenous knowledge that is going to help us through. For our critical thinking exercise, I really want to know if I really want us to ask the question, who is in control? And I want us to really just continue to challenge that. Okay. We're going to get into all of that. All right. So first, yeah, Adrian, I mean, I have video too. So first, let's find out where everybody's at. Actually, first, let me remind y'all, it was on this day in 2019 that my HBO comedy special, I Be Knowin', came out. The only reason I'm knowing this is because my phone reminded me. This was one of those happy reminders. So it was the 26th that it came out, but that was when we like premiered it. But then it was like officially available for everybody on the 28th. And I watched it last night randomly because I needed to get a clip of it. And I started watching it and I was like, oh, this was pretty good. Good job, Seals. So if you have never watched my comedy special on HBO, you should go check it out. I know some of y'all are like, an HBO comedy special? What do you mean? Yes, I was an entire stand-up comedian. Hold on.
Black women, we are the masters at compliments. We don't even say a full sentence. We just say at you what we're looking at on you. Okay, polka dots. It don't matter what size your titties is. At the end of the day, when you take your bra off, they audibly sigh. Gay black men have more confidence than anybody on the planet. They have to, because they're dealing with oppression from multiple sides. That's why the walk is so mean. They be like, no bitch, no bitch, no bitch, no bitch, come for me, come for me, come for me, come for me. Beyonce.
Yeah, I did a whole comedy special. So whenever y'all see me do I Be Knowin', I turned that into a whole HBO comedy special. So if you've never watched it, make sure you go and watch it. And you know, the mic that I use right here on Views from Mandland is the mic that I'm using on my HBO comedy special. This is the exact same mic. The gold has worn off over the years, but it is the exact same mic. Are y'all ready to find out who's in the building? Come on, come on, come on. Shooby dooby dooby doop doop doo. Let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. Roll call. Amanda Lander's here to learn. Drop in and tell me where you're watching from. We're all over the world. We're global in this thing. Y'all know what it is. Come on. Amanda Lander's here to learn. Drop in and tell me where you're watching from. We got folks in Fort Worth, Texas, South LA, Philly, Cleveland, Ohio, Talent, Oregon, Brooklyn, New York, South LA, NYC, Kearney Mesa, Santiago, California, Denmark, Copenhagen, National City, California, Patterson, New Jersey with 1 car streets, West Palm, Florida, live from Elmhurst, Queens, Louisville, Kentucky, Denver, Newark, New Jersey, Houston, Tejas, baby, Dallas, Texas, Salt Lake City, Utah, New York this week, but usually Marrakesh. We'll give you that. PDX, I believe that is Phoenix, right? California, Sacktown, Everett, Massachusetts, Maine, DTLA, West Harlem. Maine, the land of the dawn and the Wabanaki and the Wabanaki Alliance. I had to give them that whole thing. Queens, New York, Detroit, Chelsea, NYC, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Nevis, Caribbean, Brooklyn, New York, Baltimore, Sunnyvale, California, Champaign, Illinois, San Francisco, Long Island, New York, Berlin, Atlantic City, New Jersey, Virginia, Philly, Chicago, Springfield, Massachusetts, DC, Duval, Salina, Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, Ciudad de Mexico, Mexico. Yes, there is violence in the West Bank. We do not ever forget about them. Dominican Republic, Springfield, Massachusetts, Bahia, Brazil, Gainesville, Hawthorne, Santiago, Muskoka, Ontario, Canada, Paris, Boston, we got 2 Parisians, Antioch, California, below zero in Carmel, Indiana, Kansas, Missouri, Sacramento, Mackinac, Michigan. Y'all decided y'all was going to say like everybody said where they're coming from this week. Like sometimes y'all are like, yeah, you know where I'm from. But this week y'all decided everybody is going to know. Okay. So if I missed anyone, I apologize. We got Puerto Rico in here. We got multiple Paris. So bonjour, bonsoir, bisous. I believe I saw a Czech Republic in here. So big ups to the Czech Republic. Sarajevo. Wow. All right. Well, let's do our word of the day because our guest is already here and on time. All right. So let's bring out our word of the day logbooks. All right. So last week, our word was bedlam. Okay. Our word of the week last week was bedlam. So let's see what the word of the week this week is. Have we done? I feel like we've done that. Okay, this is one that you know this word, but it never hurts to be re-upped. Provocative. Provocative. Provocative is a noun. And it means strong, abusive language. That's what I wrote on my note cards from 11th grade. Strong, abusive language. It can also be an adjective. Now, on my definition card, it says abusive as the adjective, but I would say that provocative can also, instead of the term being abusive, it can be more so like controversial, right? I feel like it can mean provocative can mean something that is incendiary. So let's write it down so that we don't forget. Provocative. Now remember, provocative, for all of my folks listening, provocative is spelled Provocative, and it can be a noun and an adjective. Okay, it can be a noun and an adjective. The noun version, strong, abusive language. You know, when I hear things like this, though, I think it's always interesting because, you know, your definitions that are provided by the dictionary do not necessarily always account for the colloquial use, right? So provocative has been used colloquially to mean, you know, something that is maybe like taboo, right? Or something that is racy, you know, like, oh, like they're wearing something provocative. Okay. But in the definition in the dictionary, it says abusive for adjective. So, you know, we also know that words
change definition over time, right? Words, pussy used to mean cat, you know? And then cat became the meaning for vagina. And then now pussy means you being a girl, which, by the way, vaginas are very durable. So I don't even, so those correlations. And I mean, it makes sense that a vagina would be called a cat because cats are durable. But it doesn't make sense that someone who's a weakling would be called a pussy, aka a cat. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's use some words. All right, Fatima said, yes, I agree. Just to clarify, can also mean provoking curiosity. Fatima says, the bastard that threw something on Ilhan Omar was not only provocative, but also cowardly and disgusting. Yes, agreed. ICE is exhibiting provocative violence to justify retaliation. Factory. Everyone with dirty minds thought the arousal kind. Yeah, I agree with you. Laura Loomer's plastic surgeon. Laura Loomer's plastic surgeon is provocative. Touche. Black and brown people cosplaying as ICE agents is so provocative and disheartening. Yes, I agree. Hema says, I can use provocative language when I get defensive. I use provocative language at all times. Is a provocateur provocative? They can be. Some provocateurs are just annoying. And also are just liars. And let's let it over on Rolando. Art should be provocative. I agree. All right. Well, we're going to get into our Africa tap-in. We were a little thrown off last year. At the end of the year, we didn't get to do our tap-in. But guess what? We back at it. To tap on it. So let's get into the Africa tap-in right now.
Africa tap-in. Africa tap-in. Africa tap-in to the motherland.
Were you taking notes?
Yeah.
Welcome to Views from Mandalay, Orina, founder of Sell Africa to Afrikans. Y'all say what up to Orina. You are in Kenya?
Yes, Nairobi, nation's capital.
Nairobi, the nation's capital. Yes. Sorry, I'm not mocking you. It's part of my autism that I repeat people back to people. So understand that that's not done just to mock you. Nairobi, the nation's capital. Well, yes, listen, Orina, first, I would love for you to tell the people about Sell Africa to Afrikans and your podcast. I did do your podcast. We had a great chat. So thank you for having me on. And I want to just get people a little acquainted with you and your voice and your point of view, et cetera, before we go into our Africa tap-in.
Yeah, so my name is Orina. I'm a pan-africanist. And I'm a founder of Sell Africa to Afrikans. It's a Pan-African media platform here in Kenya. I've been doing this since 2022, but officially since 2023. So it's about 3 years right now. And I am actually, you know what, Amanda, I just realized that I'm one of the youngest, if not the youngest Pan-Africanist publicly speaking right now at the age of 25 years old. So
really?
Yeah, one of, if not the youngest, but if not the youngest, one of the youngest Pan-Africans right now that are publicly speaking, publicly out there constantly every week.
Lead your people, yes.
So that's what I do. So Sell Africa to Afrikans is a Pan-African media platform. Mm-hmm. We are fixing to be a multimedia platform in the near future, but right now we are just a YouTube channel that is pushing Pan-Africanism right now. Kenya is a place where Pan-Africanism is pretty much low. We are very westernized. Well, because Amanda, we are very westernized. We are very westernized. Kenya is one of the most, if not the most westernized African country. We are
even more than South Africa.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Really?
We are really Western. I mean, if I tell the stories of, and we're going to talk about Kenya, but Kenya is very much Westernized. The oppression that we look at is from the government. We don't look at oppression beyond the government, and that's what I'm trying to tell Kenyans right now. That
Oh, I'm
guys,
trying to
this
tell
is
Americans the same thing. So we're on the same page.
yeah. Listen, I'm trying to tell Kenyans that oppression is more than the IMF, the World Bank are controlling the Kenyan government, the European Union, the UN,
The world.
white supremacy in general. That umbrella is covering Africa, and that's what I'm trying to tell Kenyans. That's what I'm trying to tell Africans, and that's what I'm trying to tell the global African race. Yeah.
Where did you gain that awareness from? Because you said you're young, so like it wasn't. I don't think it was in school. If Kenya is so Western, right?
It was in school, but
really okay. Go ahead.
So it was in school, but it wasn't it wasn't ingrained in our curriculum the way that you would expect it to be. My history teacher, Mr. Simon, when I was in my final year in high school, there was a topic in my history book called pan-africanism. And in that book, there were only 3 Pan-Africans that were featured there. It was the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, it was Booker T. Washington, and it was W.E.B. Du Bois. And each of those Pan-Africans had 3 or 2 pages each. And I was like, something is wrong, because you can't tell me. I mean, Amanda, at that time, I didn't know much about Garvey. I didn't know much about Booker T. I didn't know much about W.E.B. Du Bois. But I at least knew about Garvey, and I knew that Garvey's story cannot be squeezed in 3 pages. But my history teacher really took his time. I mean, he was going to the internet, he was researching additional information about Marcus Garvey, speeches of Marcus Garvey, what he did, what he really meant, and that really inspired me, because he didn't have to do that. In Kenya, that topic is not examinable. So teachers just brush through it so they can go to more topics that are more important and more examinable. But he really took his time. He didn't have to do that, Amanda, but he took his time. So that really inspired me to go home and research more about Garvey. And that's how he became a Pan-African.
Speaking of go home, where are you?
I'm in Nairobi, Kenya.
No,
but
where
I
are
grew
you
up
right now physically? Because I hear a lot of children.
Well, I'm in my apartment. I'm in my home. There are kids downstairs.
The kids are having a blast. They're like, got it. I hear all the surroundings. I just want to know the textures. All right. That's good. Maybe they can hear you too, because listen, it all trickles down. It all trickles down. So get us together. What is going on the continent that we need to know about?
Well, plenty of things. Number one, where can I start, Amanda? Well, let me tell you, for people, because I'm in Kenya and because I'm a Kenyan, let me start with Kenya. Kenya is a very interesting country. Just yesterday, I was watching a documentary called The Battle of Laikipia. So Laikipia is a place in this country where white people are majority landowners. And this is because during colonial times, we really never got true independence. We signed a deal with the British that I truly believe we signed, saying that they can give us flimsy, legal, loose independence, while they can still own the important land, while they can still own the important resources, and they can still have an influence in our politics and in our economics. So in 1963,
I mean, that's just right.
So in 1963, what we did was Jomo Kenyatta, the first president, he signed a loan agreement with Britain, our former colonizer. Now,
and
remember,
what year is this again?
1963, we got independence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Independence.
Yeah, yeah, fake independence.
Right.
So what happened is that normally when true independence means that we take back our land. Without land, there's no independence. Land is the most important thing in life. Without land, you have nothing. You have no government because government sits on land. You have no water because water is,
Right.
you have no electricity. Land is everything. So what happened in 1963 is that the government borrowed a loan from Britain so that we can buy the land that white people stole from us.
I
Can you
mean,
imagine that? We borrowed a loan. So white people came in 1895. They stole our land. They stole everything. Then when we are when we are trying to find our independence, they say, no, we're not giving you your land. You'll have to buy it from us. Even though they paid nothing, for that land that they stole.
well, you
So
know,
we
they
were
love
conned.
to say, well, we worked really hard. And it's like, theft is not hard work. Please stop calling stealing hard work.
Yeah, it wasn't. So basically, what happened is they stole our land in 1885 all the way through 1963.
Mhm.
Then when we were finding our independence, they said, you know what? We're not giving you your land. You buy it from us. So Kenya said, you know what? We don't have money. We are beginning. We are trying
We're
to start the
finding our
nation.
footing. Yeah.
So they said, okay, fine. We'll give you a loan to buy land from us. Then you repay the loan, with time. And that's what happened.
And the loan was taken from where? The IMF
So
or the?
no, just from the British government. Just from the British government.
Well, to be honest, the British government and the IMF and the World Bank are all run by the same people. So,
course.
The Rothschilds and them. So it's all the same.
So exactly, Amanda. And since that time, even though we bought the land, in quotes, we didn't buy all of it. There's some areas that Jomo Kenyatta was told, don't touch it. That's where the minerals are. That's where the wild animals are. So we'll capitalize off of the wild animals. So there are places where
like in the Masai Mara, and how
Exactly.
they're building, the Four Seasons and all this nonsense.
Exactly. So Jomo Kenyatta bought the land and he kept it all to himself, including some pieces, which is why till this day the Kenyatta government, the Kenyatta family is the largest landowner because they own almost half of Kenya. And that goes to show you the sellout that sold our country from the beginning.
So what now is the current status of Kenya? We've seen some protesting that's been going on with the students in Kenya, etc. However, then at the same time, you see the Kenyan president saying, yeah, we'll take over, we'll take some of your deportees, and, sitting behind the Oval Office desk and spinning around in a chair like a child. Where do you feel like the energy of Kenya is at present?
The energy is very bad. The politics is bad. The economics it's stable, but with Kenyan standards, it's not that good. It's not that good. The taxation is through the roof. What happened 2 years ago with Gen Z protests? Young people said, "Yo, we are done."
Right.
We're not, and it was fueled by the finance bill. It was fueled by the taxes that the IMF were putting on us through the government. See, and that's what, Amanda, I try to tell Kenyans, don't look at Ruto. Don't look at the Kenyan government. Look at the IMF, because these taxes, these bad economic policies that are affecting our pockets doesn't come from Ruto. It comes from the IMF. It comes from the World Bank. So
it's so great to hear you say this, because every show, well, I tried every show to do what's called the critical thinking exercise. And literally today's critical thinking exercise is who is in control. And it's literally asking folks to do additional research on who is in control, because what you're describing in Kenya is exactly what's happening in the United States, where people seem to think that it's just the government. They think that governments are operating on, you can turn the light back on. They think that governments are operating on like independent. Did the light just die?
Yeah, power is out, but it's okay. It's okay. I have my light.
So the power is out because they have like rolling blackouts?
Yeah, we have a blackout today. Yeah.
But the taxes are high.
Well, it happens sometimes. I mean, not all the time.
It shouldn't happen at all. See, this is my thing, because these types of things be happening. When I lived in LA, we're paying crazy money, and they're like, yeah, it's a water ration. You can't drink water. But what I was going to say was to just echo what you're saying, is that people think that the governments are operating as independent entities. They, for some reason, even when they know that there are outside forces, they'll still be like, yeah, but we're just going to address the government. And I think that's just because it's easier, right? They're in your face. You can see them. It is an actual target that you can get to. But that's by design. They're there for that purpose. They find the people that just want to be seen, and they don't care how they're seen. They find folks who are willing to be notorious to carry out the deeds of the folks that are in the back and in secret doing all of the pedophilic nonsense.
Yeah, you're right. So Kenya, that's the state of Kenya right now. We are heavily controlled by the IMF and the World Bank, which informed the Gen Z protests in 2024, which informed the government killing hundreds of people. And then also last year, there were protests and hundreds of people died as well.
Really?
This year, yeah.
So people died because the military was given free reign to just shoot to kill?
The police. Yeah, the police. So that's where we are right now. What happened the other time? Late last year, there was massive gold deposits that was found in Western Kenya, and the government just gave the British the contract to have control of the mining, of the extraction. Well, the government said, it was a fair deal, and but they BS us all the time. We all know that there's the British own that gold. So that's where we are right now. Kenya is a microcosm of what's happening in majority of African countries, whereby we never got full independence, whereby a lot of the founding fathers started the problem. They didn't follow what Kwame Nkrumah did. Kwame Nkrumah was, to me, the visionary of Africa, because his whole idea was, guys, it's 1963. We are fresh off of independence. We are fresh countries. This is the time for us to unite as an African continent. Let's unite our economy. Let's unite our politics. Let's unite our social life. Let's unite everything so that we can finally be Western proof. We can be even now Eastern proof, so that we can be fully independent. Well, some African presidents were for that idea, and majority were not of that idea. Majority were of the idea that, let's first be small independent countries. Let's first run our countries independently. Then later we will be independent. Then later we will be united. We will be united as a global, as an African continent. Well, that never happened.
No.
That never happened.
Just to let y'all know, Kwame Nkrumah was the president of Ghana.
Yes, the first president of Ghana.
But even when you saw, Patrice Lumumba and Guinea-Bissau with Amilcar Cabral, like there were other folks that were aligning with Kwame Nkrumah. If you watch the documentary Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, it talks about how like Nkrumah had sent somebody from his team to come and help in the Congo. And there's always going to be the people, there seems to always be the people who are working in unison, and then the people who are trying to get, of course, their independent power, right? Like even right now, we look at Uganda, we look at Ivory Coast, we look at Cameroon, we look at Nigeria, we look at Mugabe, Rwanda, we look at Kenya. Like all of these places are led by leaders who ultimately had an option to not go along with this. Many of them have been in place since the 60s, y'all. Like they've literally been around since that time. Like they're not then you have like Bobby Wine, who is trying to do something different in Uganda, and they keep like trying to take him out. So when you see the Sahel states doing what they're doing, which is of course Niger, Mali, and Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso, it's no surprise that there's going to be other folks in Kenya, other leaders in Kenya who are still operating the same way they were when Nkrumah came into power, which is to say, yeah, we don't want you to like mess up the money we're getting by being colonial cooperatives.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And so we didn't listen to Kwame Nkrumah in 1963. We continued being 54 little independent countries that cannot survive on their own. And now look where we are right now. The more years have gone by, Amanda, the more it's hard for us to unite. If we could have listened to him back in the day, it could have been easy, but now it's hard. Just because it's hard doesn't mean that it's impossible. You can see right now with Ibrahim Traore and Abdul Rahman Chiani and Assimi Goita. What's happening it has started well, and it's fixing to be something powerful. When it succeeds, that's a microcosm of how a total African union is supposed to be. See, because
yes,
yeah, because what
is the uniqueness about them? I ask this every time they come up. What is the uniqueness about them, in your opinion?
Well, number one is that what happened in AES, in the Sahel states, is that first thing they did, they removed French troops. They removed
No, that's
all
not the question
French.
I'm asking. I'm asking,
Okay.
What is unique about those individual men that you just named that has them operating in this, that you feel has them operating in this way, contrary to the other individuals that are neighboring them, for instance, Nigeria and Cameroon, who are actively countering what they're about?
Well, number one is because they have something that African presidents don't have: courage.
Right? Where did they get that?
Well, probably it's something that has always been in them, or probably they've been living in Burkina Faso, they've been living in Niger, they've been living in Mali, and they've realized that the old way of doing things is wrong and we need to change. Maybe it's because they've been in actually all of them are army people. They've been in the military. They've seen how they've been used badly by their puppet governments.
Systems. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it's something that is just in them, and they've been like, enough is enough. That's what I can assume is the quality, courage, and one thing that I could have said first, which is the most important thing that African leaders, majority of them, don't have: love. That's it. If you love your people, you will never, ever, ever sell your people out. You'll never do that. if you love your people, you will not let Bill Gates come to Africa and basically have a field day when it comes to agriculture and medicine. Yet he is fully known of being he has professed publicly that he believes in population control as a way of combating climate change. Well, whenever you hear white people saying population control, the first thing that comes to your mind has to be Africa. They will never go to Europe. They will never go to America and do population control. The first place they do their tests is Africa.
I will say, though, that they take their tests and they do come to these places and they apply those tests to the immigrant populations and the lower income populations in those places. So, you know, when they do these sterility programs, etc., they have inflicted them on the Puerto Rican people. They've inflicted them on Black men in literally in the army. They've inflicted them on people at the ICE detention centers, etc. So you're right. They definitely keep it out of the white folks. And instead, what they're trying to do is make it so that more white people can have babies, because that's the goal. And that's always been the goal, by the way, you guys. Like, the goal has always been, like, if there's just more of us, then we won't lose. Like, that's literally what they did in Palestine. They came in, the population was abundantly Arab, and so they just kept bringing in Jewish people so that they could try and overpower the population dynamic to say, oh, no, see, like, there's more of us. There's more of us now. And that's the effort that's been trying to happen in the world, which is also why I think certain white people are aliens. But that's another conversation for another time.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. And so now you talk about the AES, the Sahel Alliance. They have done something that is amazing, because the first thing they did is to remove the French troops.
Yep.
Get the French troops off. We cannot be a sovereign state, and we have our former colonizers still setting up their army bases in our countries.
No,
it doesn't make sense. And if you followed my last episode, and I'd like everybody to go to Sell Africa to Africans and go watch. I interviewed Ahmed Kabalo, African Stream founder, and we talked about the British still have their army bases here in Kenya. The problem is that there was a brutal murder case, a famous murder case that happened here in Kenya of a young Kenyan mother who was killed by a British soldier and was dumped in a septic tank that was around the British Army training unit.
Mm-hmm.
She was found, and the killer is just wallowing in Britain. Well, he was arrested, but he hasn't been extradited yet.
But in order for him to get arrested, people had to really make noise about it. They weren't trying to arrest him.
Oh yeah, of course. The noise was too much. They had to arrest him. But the extradition was issued by the Kenyan government late last year. We'll see if he'll be extradited back to Kenya. But my guess is trust me. My guess is that
he's in England right now.
Yes, he's in England. It's called Robert Parkis. Robert Parkis is the killer of Agnes Wanjiru that has been charged. Actually, he has been charged with that murder. Yeah, and you know what's funny is that they were laughing about it in their Facebook group.
Of course.
I mean, they were making fun of they're making fun of the event. It just goes to show you the arrogance, the barbaricness of white supremacy. White supremacy extends its ugly fingers even here in Africa, and that's what I want African Americans who are watching us right now. It is white supremacy, which is the father and the mother of white privilege. It's very much alive and well here in Kenya. These British soldiers just do whatever they want. Even their training regiments are so dangerous. The landmines are just there. I mean, if you live I mean, if you live around Nanyuki, which is where the training unit is, I mean, you need to be very careful because it's crazy. It's crazy. So that's where we are right now. We are a colonized country. People call it neo-colonialism. There's nothing about it's just colonialism.
It's just colonialism. It never
It's just
stopped.
colonialism. Yeah.
I donate to an organization that sends Kenyan children to secondary school. So there's about I think there's when I started there were 28 students. I think at this point some of them have graduated, so there's less. It's like 20. But you know, one of the things that we talk about is the curriculum in Kenya, and I've seen a lot of not a lot, but I've seen some African voices speaking about this as well. Just the necessity to change the curriculum in Kenya because it is still a colonialist curriculum that the children are kind of being reared up in. And I wanted to get your thoughts on, do you agree that it's also a curriculum that essentially teaches you not to ask questions?
Of course, our curriculum is British based, and it has never changed. It has never changed. We are trained. It's not even. I mean, we are trained to not ask questions. We are trained to, we are trained to not learn and not to grasp information and not to internalize and to apply the information that we get from books. But we are taught to cram answers. We are taught to just regurgitate and memorize. That's the word I'm looking for. To memorize what's written in books. That's why you find you find that young people have the skills. And to me, if you ask me,
I'm asking you.
We need to have trade skills taught in schools.
I don't even think it should be called trade, to be quite honest, because what I think happens far too often is this dissemination this delineation between like skills with your hands and skills with your mind, when the reality is that different people have different talents that apply themselves in different ways. You know what I mean? When I see Rolando come and install the pump that they put in the new bathroom that I had gotten when I first moved here, I was like, this is genius work. Like, I mean, they were so casual about just creating something from nothing. And the same way that some people might look at me and be like, well, what are you doing? And it's like, well, when you're able to just write a book from nothing and you're able to then make the music that goes with the book, et cetera, then you'll tell me about what I'm not doing. The same way, though, that I can look at someone who is farming and people might look down on them and be like, oh my gosh, like, why are they farming? What are we, slaves again? Mind you, I don't know how they grew that. How did they grow that? Like, that's a skill. So I don't even feel like it has to be, because I know that what you're saying is like, we need to put that in schools because they keep looking down on it and they take it out of schools. And now people cannot fish for themselves. They can't make things. They can't exist without needing to lean on the resources of something, of a government that doesn't even care about them.
I agree. So our education is very much westernized. Our education is very much British based. We are taught less about our heroes, and there's in the same history book in my final year, there is a whole chapter about what white people invented. Isaac Newton, the Wright brothers,
phone, the Edison with the light bulb, and
it's in the same book, Amanda, that has 2 pages of Garvey and 2 pages of Booker T and 2 pages of Du Bois. And I mean, it's so westernized. Oh, and mind you, even the way, elementary, which we call primary, you guys call it elementary, is structured. High school is structured. University is, and even in our universities, back in the day, let me tell you, and my parents tell me, and people from that era tell me that university in Kenya was cheap, if not free. Food was abundant and it was cheap. And until the IMF came in and told our government, you know what, food shouldn't be free. You know what, education doesn't have to be cheap or free. Charge these people.
Yeah.
Charge them for food, charge them for school fees, charge them for, and that's why I keep on telling you the IMF runs Africa, the IMF runs our education, the IMF runs our banking, the IMF runs our economic policy.
The IMF runs the world.
Government,
the
the
International
IMF runs
Monetary Fund runs the world in partnership with the Vatican. It is the second phase of the Roman Empire, which is the Vatican. It is comprised of individuals who believe in the occult and sadism. And so when you say these men have love, it's not just some flowers and sparkles type thing that you're talking about. We live in a world, we live on an earth that has had a world built on it by people who don't have love. And I'm not saying that, y'all, as like some woo-woo shit. I'm saying that the people who are in charge are literally sadists who get joy from harm and pain. They gain strength from blood that has been infused with the adrenaline that comes from harm and pain. So when we see these people doing harmful things, and we say there's a phrase that always happens on the US side of the internet where they say, it's the cruelty is the point. Like sometimes we get these phrases said, Orina, and people think of them like it's just like some catchy phrase. No, that's literal. The cruelty is the point. They don't just get money from harming Africans. They get joy. They literally get joy. These people get joy. And I don't know where they came from, Orina. I don't know. I don't know where they came from. I don't know what cave. I don't know if this is some Neanderthal strain. I don't know if they were beamed down and sent here to come and disrupt, but I don't have, and you tell me, I don't know of any history that has been recorded of civilizations on the continent who have enacted terror in the way that we have witnessed the terrorism of the white people that run the IMF and the World Bank and that carried forth the Spanish Inquisition and the Salem witch trials, etc. I've never seen it. Japan, that's another question. Japan got its own thing going on. Over there in Japan, y'all, that's a whole other conversation. Japan, Orina, I don't know if you've done any research on Japan, but Japan is rivaling the white folks on the sideways behavior. But I've never seen on the continent, in the study of Timbuktu, in the study of the Malian Empire and Mansa Musa, in the studies of the ancient Egyptians in Mesopotamia, I ain't never heard of the kind of bereft of morality that I have witnessed and that I have learned about from these people. Have you?
No, I actually, I ask myself every day, where do they come from? I mean, the sadistic way that they do things makes me wonder what is wrong with them. You already have world power. You have everything that you want. You have even more than what you need. What more do you want? You're coming to Nigeria now and you're cosplaying as if you're coming to bring peace, but there's nothing you're coming to bring. You're coming there for resources. You're Kenya now. I mean, Rwanda, the Congo, the white supremacy is involved there with the coltan, with the cobalt, with the copper mines, and China. By the way, China is also there. In fact, that is why the U.S. Came in recently, in the way of peace deal, because they've realized that China has had a head start in terms of owning the cobalt and the copper and the coltan mines. And they've realized that, wow, China is really overtaking us in terms of Congo influence. So we need to overtake China. And that's why they're coming there, disguising themselves as, oh, we are coming there to bring peace. But, I mean, nobody gives a shit about Africans. They're coming there to overtake China's influence in terms of the coltan, the cobalt, and the copper mines. So you look at white supremacy, and you're speaking about Africans. When I speak of Africans, when I say the name Africans, I not only mean Africans in the continent, I mean Africans in the diaspora as well, which includes you, Amanda, which includes the whole of Black America, which includes the whole of Black people in Europe, which includes the whole of Black South America.
You're missing a whole region.
Yeah, which includes the whole Black people in Asia, which includes the Black people all over the world.
You gotta say the Caribbean. The Caribbean.
And the Caribbean. I know you're from Grenada. I know you're from Grenada. I know you're from Grenada. I know, and I love the Caribbean. Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey is
Have you
my.
been to the Caribbean?
No, I've never. And to me, the first place I would like to land in the Caribbean is Jamaica, because of Marcus Garvey and because of what he means to me and to what I stand for right now. So to me,
shot up. Jamaica,
to me,
you land in the wrong place in Jamaica. Be careful.
Those are my people,
you have the type of energy where wherever you land, they'll be like, come.
By the way, Jamaicans have a soft spot for Kenyans, and Kenyans have a soft spot for Jamaicans. You know why? If you come to Kenya and you go to the commercial buses, you go to the clubs, you go to even people playing music off of their apartment. We love reggae. I don't think there's an African country that loves reggae like Kenya. And I mean, I don't know if it's coincidental because I love reggae. Reggae is my number one genre. So Jamaica holds a very special. Jamaica has a soft spot in my heart. So I mean, I think they'll receive me with open arms because Kenyans and Jamaicans have a special connection. Yeah.
Kenyans and Jamaicans have a special connection, y'all. I didn't even realize it was like a known thing, but it's true.
Kenyans. I think Kenya is the reggae capital of Africa. I'm telling you, Kenyans love the hell out of reggae.
You know what Kenyans also love? Country music. What's that about?
Yeah. Kenyans love Kenny Rogers. Kenyans love Dolly Parton. So yeah, not me though. Not me. Not me.
So can you tell us, is there anything else going on the continent that you feel like we need to be aware of? Because here in the US, we don't be hearing about nothing.
Well, people need to pay close attention to what's happening in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. People need to spread the word that there is at least hope in Africa. Back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I mean just a few years ago, before Traore, before Chiani, before Goita, before the AES, let me tell you, there was absolutely no hope. There was only there was only one president that I really liked, and it was from Tanzania, called Magufuli, who I believe was murdered. Then they said it was COVID, but that's a whole other story. But apart from him, I couldn't see a single African president that was standing up for us, that was pushing Pan-Africanism, that was actually leading from the front. Well, Traore came in, Chiani and Goita came in like boom, and we were like, okay, so there's hope, there's hope. So there's hope, Amanda. And a lot of African youth is looking up to those three people, especially Traore. And when they tried to, when they tried to overthrow him / kill him, when that black general was in charge of Africom, which is African Command.
Yes. What's
by
his
the
name?
way,
Langley, I think his name was.
Langley. By the way, I believe he was fired because he didn't finish the job. He didn't succeed in the job. So now they've put a white boy in charge of AFRICOM, and this guy, I think Trump was like, you know what? No more black people. No. Let's just put a white boy who has no ties to Africa whatsoever. So let's just, and I think that's what Trump is trying to do in Nigeria. There's no such thing as him trying to bring peace and protect Christians and using Nicki Minaj to do it. There's nothing like that. What he's trying to do is that he's trying to gain access to Niger. By gaining access to Niger, he'll weaken the AES, and ultimately he'll have access to Burkina Faso and Mali. This has nothing to do.
I want to always make sure that when we talk about these things, that we don't let ourselves give people. Okay, we sat here and we have talked about the IMF and we've talked about the World Bank, right? And they're running the show. But then we say Trump is trying to do XYZ. And I can tell you, Trump probably has a catheter. Like, he probably can't even pee on his own at present, let alone consider a militarized strategy. And so I want to always remind us to be prescient about what, to be prescient, which is knowing the larger story of things and using language that reflects that, and not giving people, I don't want to say not giving people power they don't deserve. More so what I want to remind us, though, is that we have a fight bigger than Trump. And so what I get concerned, Orina, when I find us saying, well, Trump is doing XYZ, because Trump is not doing anything. He is a puppet, right? He is a puppet. And so I think it's very important that we particularly, because I consider you an educator, particularly as educators, to be conscious. We have to be conscious, and I'm saying this to myself as well, about using language that properly frames the fight. Because I can tell you the same way that this conversation started was, Kenyans are only fighting their government. The same way in the United States, people think that if Trump dies tomorrow, that somehow things are going to be different. And it's completely a delusional concept to think that way, because they'll actually get even worse, because now you'll have someone even more capable of carrying out the tyranny of these people in the background who literally just want to kill the earth. That's what they really want to do. They just want to kill the earth. So I just want to bring that to the attention of things, because these guys in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, they're up against a fight that is bigger than just the United States. And I think when we talk about Nkrumah, and we talk about Sankara, which was a different time frame, but still Sankara, and we talk about even Walter Rodney in Guyana, and Amilcar Cabral in Guinea-Bissau, and Lumumba, I don't think they fully grasped what they were up against. Because it's the colonizer that's right in front of you. And so you're like, we just got to deal with these people, not realizing the colonizer even themselves is answering to somebody. And how do we strategize on such a large level? And I believe we can do it.
We can do it. The first thing we need to do is that we just need to unite as a global African race. Forget about these crazy foundational Black Americans telling you that you're not Africa, or they're calling us tethers now. And
oh my God, they're tethers. I'm like, anyone calling me a tether, you're FBI. That's what I tell them. They're like, I'm FBA, you FBI. You FBI.
Oh,
you're literally actively working to separate Black people's unity. You're FBI. Get out of here.
Trust me, I had Professor James Small on my show, and he just went crazy on them, and they couldn't take it. They couldn't take it. So look, forget about this FBA nonsense. And also here in Africa, we have tribalists who believe that you guys in America are not part of us. So it's both. I mean, it's both sides. Both sides have divisive people who don't want to accept each other. Forget about this nonsense. We are all Africans, whether you like it or not. We are Africans. We are Afrikans. Look, I always ask these FBA people one question. Fine, you want to be a distinct group and you want to be independent.
Yes.
Fine. Well, let me ask you a question then. Has white supremacy, white supremacy is a global institution.
Yes.
How can you defeat a global institution on your own as FBA people? White supremacy is conjoined. White supremacy in America is conjoined with the Vatican, is conjoined with the IMF, with the European Union, with the whole UN, with the whole World Bank. And you are there as FBA is thinking that you'll defeat white supremacy alone. It's either you're dumb or ignorant or both at the same time.
Or your goal isn't to defeat white supremacy at all.
Exactly. Or your goal is just to remain and to survive and to thrive in white supremacy, which is impossible.
But we have some questions for you. We have some questions for you. All right. Mr. Orina, can you connect the recent violence against Black migrants in Morocco to a broader pattern of anti-Black racism and exploitation from the Middle East toward Africa?
Boy, we need another now. And trust me, we need another podcast to, I'm telling you. Well, let me tell you, when it comes to Arabs,
I mean, we just saw Morocco boo the coach from Senegal who beat them. I mean, that was so ridiculous.
Let me tell you something about Arabs here in Africa and in the Middle East and how they affect Africa. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Dubai, what's happening right now in Kenya, there are these phony agencies that are owned by Kenyan politicians and some Kenyan rich people that there's unemployment here in Kenya. There's a lot of unemployment. Like a lot of youth are unemployed. So because they can't find jobs here, what do? They go seek jobs in the Middle East. What's happening is that these agencies con them. They just rip them off. So when they get to Saudi Arabia, maybe let's say I'm a woman and I signed up for a secretary job in an office.
Yep.
Turns out that I get there and I'm assigned to be a housemaid.
Yep.
Somewhere. A nanny. Just doing household and just doing manual jobs. You try to contact the agencies, boop, they're gone. So you're stuck there. So you have to basically just be there and to do that job and to survive there.
Yes.
Amanda, let me tell you something. There was a year that hundreds of Kenyans were reported dead in Saudi Arabia. Why? The Saudi Arabian employers were raping the women. They were killing the women. Some bodies haven't been found till this day. And there are many Kenyan families that are still urging the Kenyan government to put pressure on the Saudi Arabian government to finally bring the remains of their loved ones home. What's happening is impunity. Arabs don't respect their women. So if they don't respect their Arabian women, what do you think? Well, I'm telling you, in some of these countries, they don't even allow their women to drive. I think
it's fair to say that there are Arabs who don't, but I do think it's important to, you know what? Maybe what I'm doing is I'm conflating. My bad. Keep going.
So, like from what they wear, some of these countries don't allow Arabian women to drive and to hold certain jobs and everything. And so I always tell Kenyans that if they don't even respect their own women 100%, what do you think they will do to African women?
This is what I was trying to say. So the system does not respect women. And I think that's where when we bifurcate it or trifurcate it, et cetera, and we say like Arabs don't respect women or Africans don't respect women, et cetera, et cetera. What we're missing is that there is a globalized system that utilizes women as slaves in many different forms. And it's essentially whoever aligns themselves with that system that it ends up being displayed in how their women are treated, right? Because we'll see nations that are Arab nations that have shifted in how they treat women depending on who's in power, right? They never changed being Arab, but they changed in who they were and who was in power and who was placed in power.
True. But some haven't. And you find that, like, for example, I remember there was a video of a Kenyan woman working as a housemaid in a Arabian household somewhere in Saudi Arabia. And I mean, she was, I think she was punished. And part of that punishment was breastfeeding the puppies I'm telling you, of the Arabian employer. And she was crying. I mean, that video went viral here in Kenya. I was like, what the hell is going on there? You'll hear horror stories. I mean, women are being beaten, they are being raped. Some of them end up dead. There are many women who have ended up dead. So this is a problem of two people. Number one, the Arabian government, because they basically don't care about the legal, because they're legal, the legal African migrants who go there to work and to earn a living. Number two, this is the problem of the Kenyan government, because they don't even care about their Kenyan citizens to even provide jobs. Provide jobs for your people here in Kenya so that they don't have to go to Saudi Arabia to be slaves and to earn a slave wage. I mean, if you look at their payslip, you'll even wonder, why are you there? But they're like, you know what? I can't find a job in Kenya, so I have to go to Saudi Arabia. I have to go to Qatar. And Qatar, the last World Cup was in Qatar, and those stadiums were heavily built by immigrants, especially African immigrants. And I mean, Kenyans were there, many of them, and a lot of them died because of the poor working conditions that are there, the heat. I mean, some of them were falling down from the top, boom, dead. I mean, like, nobody respects an African. Nobody respects. When I say African, I mean the global black race. Nobody respects us. Nobody cares about us. We are on our own. We are on our own. And the sooner we understand that, the better. Let's stop fighting. Let's stop debating who's African and who's not. Let's stop debating who's blacker than who's
nonsense.
Let's stop all this nonsense. Let's stop debating who got to America first, or fine.
Thank you.
You know,
please. Listen, you're an old soul, Orina. You're an old soul. Saida is an organizer who's been very involved in the movements here in the U.S. And she asked, as a pan-Africanist, can you suggest any books?
I'm reading a book called The ISIS Papers, but by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Rest in peace. That Queen Mother was something else. Wow.
ISIS Papers mess you up. It opens you up. I mean, I commend you. I've had the ISIS Papers since I was 25, and I really honestly was like, I'm not ready to read this. If I read this now, it will change the course of, like, I was like, I can't read this now because there's a certain level of ignorance that I need to, like, possess in order to continue to live. And now at my age, I'm ready. I literally put a book cover on it because I was like, if people see me reading this on the train, it's going to start problems.
So ISIS Papers, number one. Number two, the Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson.
How Europe under... have you read that one by Walter Rodney? How Europe underdeveloped Africa?
Not yet. I haven't read your book, but based on the cover, the Harriet Tubman, what were the answers? You must read that book, and I think I'll make it a mission to read your book, Amanda. So those are the three books.
My book is a quick read. You know, I mean, I really would love to be able to come out to Kenya and do some book talks. And try to figure out that. Like, I mean, and it doesn't even have to be in any big fancy places. Like, I just want to be able to come and speak to people outside of the US. So, something to think about, Orina.
Yeah. So there are many. I mean,
I'll pay my way there and everything. I literally just want to come and speak to the people.
Come home. This is your home. This is your home, Amanda.
I've been to Togo, I've been to Ghana, I've been to Kenya, and all 3 times, when you land, y'all, you're like, like, Jumbo. I mean, when I was in 5th grade, Orina, we had to do reports on different countries, and I did a report on Kenya, but I did a video. And I still have the video to this day. I need to post it. Jumbo. That means hello in Kenya's native language of Swahili. They also speak Kikuyu, Tahamel. Yeah. So it's a classic. Well, we appreciate you. And folks want to know, aside from your YouTube channel, this is like basically the same question. So where can folks follow you? It is, hold on, I have it right here. Oh my gosh, I literally wrote this and now I can't find it. Sell Africa to Africans. So how often is your podcast? Any specific episodes that you feel like people should make sure to listen to?
Yeah. So just go to YouTube and type Sell Africa to Africans. I post every week. I post 3 to 4 times a week. I have guests every week. The most important conversation I'd like people to. There's many. I've had Dr. Kaba Kamene. I've had Professor James Small. I've had you, Amanda. I've had Professor Pielo Lumumba. I mean, I've had Elder Maponga. I've had a lot of Pan-African thought leaders. But the most important one I'd like people to go is to just type Professor James Small and go watch that episode. That's the episode that these FBAs went crazy on me because they couldn't take the bomb that Professor James Small. Oh man, James Small went crazy on them. I was just sitting down and I was just listening. I was like, go on, Prof.
Go on, Prof. Well, you keep going, Orina. I'm so glad to have you for the Africa Tap-In. We do this every month with different folks who are on the continent doing the work and spreading the word. And, as a Pan-Africanist, I feel like it is very imperative that we continue to be in contact with each other, learning from each other, sharing with each other, and identifying the uniqueness of our experiences while also connecting the sameness. Because as we just pointed out throughout this entire interview, there's so many things that are aligned because at the end of the day, it's the same folks in charge, y'all. It's the same folks in charge. And so the oppression ends up showing up in the same ways. They say history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes.
Yeah. Just can I give my last word before we go?
Please. Yes.
Amanda, before I give my last word, I just want to give you your flowers. Let me tell you, when I tell you I'm a fan, I told you in my show that I've been following you for a while, and it's true. But not because of your artistic work, not because of your work in entertainment, but because of how you've been standing firm for Black people. Not many people do that in the entertainment sector, and I'm starting to get pissed off. I'm starting to, you know what? I'm starting to actually. I'm not listening to Nikki anymore, and yeah, she's. By the way, I used to be a Nikki fan. She's out of my playlist. She's out of my everything. And any other Black person who is a sellout or who is deterring us from from Black greatness, I'm detoxing from them. Because and I would urge Black people to do so. I would urge Black people to do the same thing. Please do the same thing, because celebrities can't benefit from our money and our support and our streams and everything, and all they do is to sell out. So they need.
Can't spell celebrity without sell.
They need to know. They need to know that the Black community is serious in this struggle, and if they're using their art, they need to use their art to benefit Black people. If not, we have no reason to listen or to watch them. So my last word is Black power is powerful more in Africa than it is outside of Africa. Build your power, build Black power here in Africa. It's more sustainable, it's more long lasting, it's more welcoming here.
You see how they froze him up? They said, nah, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. They froze him right up. They froze Orina right up. God dang. Look at that. Man, listen. Well, thank you to Orina for joining us for the Africa Tap In. I'm going to play the music because I really like it.
Africa Tap In, Tap In. Africa Tap In, Tap In. Africa Tap In, Tap In, Tap In to the motherland.
Did I see correctly that Tiffany Haddish was in the chat? She invited me to something the other day. I don't know why people don't believe me when I say I don't F with them. I mean, if you're a Zionist, you're a Zionist. Like, you know, you made that choice. And I'm not going to rock with you. That's it. Like, that's just how it goes. I'm just not going to rock with you ever again. And I don't know why you think that's acceptable, because that's not. And at this point, I will consider you to be an op. So, you know, Tiff, if you're here, you got me fucked up. And you know that I've been the real nigga since day one. So, you know, when I say what I say, I mean what I mean. Okay? Like, I just feel like a lot of times people don't really believe you. And I don't know why they don't. But all Rolando needs for me to do is say the word and you'll be kicked out of the live. You being in here is op behavior. And I'm not here for it. Period. And I love that Kimberly Holmes said to y'all, I do not give Zionists respect. Like, so Orina's going to say his for real goodbye. Hold on.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, my connection was out. I mean, today is just a mess. The blackout is off. The Wi-Fi is gone. Oh my God.
We're gonna leave you to it. So say your goodbyes, because they cut you before you could say your official goodbyes.
It's the system, Amanda. It's the system. They're trying to. It's the system. I'm joking. I'm
not.
I'm joking. Black power is more sustainable, is more long-lasting here in Africa than it is outside of Africa, because when it's outside of Africa, it's in close proximity to white supremacy. Build your black power here in Africa. African Americans, this is your home. Come home. Let's connect. Let's build, and let's find a way on how we can unite, because it's the only way we can be free. I thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Orina. We'll be in touch. Man, listen. So before we go on with the rest of the show, I want to let y'all know that I have some new items that you will be able to support that are coming out. I mean, they're available, but you have to look for it on the site, because I haven't put it in the mix of things yet. But basically, what I want y'all to know is that I feel like every day I am watching us try and decide how black we gonna have to get when it comes down to us. Because right now, and I'm gonna talk about this later, right now, black folks are like, we're chilling. We're chilling. However, at some point, we'll be back. And the question becomes, how black am I gonna have to get? So this is my latest drop, and it's coming for Black History Month. You can get your How Black t-shirt. You can get your How Black crew neck. You can get your How Black lapel pin, and it comes with an information insert that breaks down, that gives you, some quick little blurbs on each individual that is named on the How Black You Gonna Have to Get pin. And I'm very proud of this because your girl is really out here doing the graphic artist's work. Okay. And then you can also get the How Black Are You Gonna Get bonus bundle. So how black am I gonna have to get notebook, the big ass sticker, the magnet, the button. All of this is available at amandalandexports.com. Now, right now, it's not featured because I'm giving you a soft launch. All of my what's it called? My Amanda Landers. You're getting a soft launch, but you can go on the homepage of Amanda Land's Exports, go to the hamburger menu at the top and click on collections, and it's right there. So I'm very proud of this stuff. The quality is just top notch. Really, I am beside myself with the quality. Okay. Like, it's really next level. And the sweatshirt, the quality, so I just wanted you all to know that this was available before the masses know, because y'all ain't the masses. Y'all are the Amanda Landers. Okay. And so if you get the notebook or the pin, it comes with the info insert. So just so you know that. This is the info insert right here, and the other side of the info insert is right here. So, proud of you all for still being down with the Views for Amanda Land. And I'm proud of myself. And all right, so we still got more show for you. For those of you just joining us, it is 11:44 a.m. Eastern here at Views from Amanda Land. This is your home of news, truths by any joke necessary. I am happy that you are waking up on the right side of history. Yes, Tiara, we are 1 year deep up in this bia. Okay. Bone Creates actually don't need help with graphic arts. I like doing the graphic arts. But I do want to shout out the folks who have been helping with clips and sending clips. I appreciate y'all so much. So if you missed last week's episode of Views from Amanda Land, let's take a look back before we get into our 60-second headlines, because I really think it's important to amplify the story of Keith Porter, and I don't feel like we're doing enough of that. So if you missed last week's episode, you can check this out right here. And there is also a GoFundMe, and that GoFundMe, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, their GoFundMe's $1 million. Keith Porter, $126,000. Not acceptable. So I just want to reiterate Keith Porter's story for you right here on Views from Amanda Land. Last week we had Dr. Melina Abdullah and Keith Porter's cousin, Ms. Janae Tyler, on to talk about what really happened and how this ICE officer did an extrajudicial killing and has still not been brought to any type of justice or accountability.
Ms. Tyler, why don't you start by telling your cousin's story?
Yeah. I'm already heavy this morning. I apologize.
Don't ever apologize for that.
So
we'll help you. We'll carry you.
Thank you. My cousin was a loving, kind human being. He was a girl dad, father of 2 daughters. He was his mother's only son. And I know people are probably tired of hearing me use the word amazing, but that word actually applies to some people. And Keith was absolutely amazing. He brought joy wherever he went. He was always the one to uplift his people around him, even if you were a stranger, and telling of who he was, even the fact that he had only been in his apartment complex for 11 months, and all of those people knew him, and it was a large complex. It's a large complex, and they all knew exactly who he was and all had good things to say about him. And that's who he's been since he was a little boy. You know, they really stole a Black man off of this planet that had so much more to give. And he had so much more to give to his daughters and to his mother and to us as his family. And so on New Year's Eve, Keith was expecting some company and had sent his girlfriend out to get some food for the evening. And in the interim, you know, he heard people outside celebrating already, and he had just got licensed for a new rifle. And, you know, I know people have varying opinions on shooting firearms in the air in a celebratory manner, but as it stands, that's what my cousin went outside to do. He let off a few shots, and one of his neighbors that happened to be an off-duty ICE agent who was in his apartment doing who knows what, Brian Palacios, who we do now know for a fact is a racist, is a child abuser, is homophobic, and so many other nasty things about himself, is the person that took it upon himself to leave his apartment, hunt through the apartment complex to find where he had heard the shots, saw my cousin with his rifle, engaged him. He was actually in the process of returning to his home. And this officer went back inside, got his tactical gear, got fully dressed in his tactical gear, got his service pistol, ran back through the apartment complex, found my cousin, and shot him dead. After he killed my cousin, the police response was horrendous. They came out at least about 9 cars deep, is what the apartment complex tenants have said, and I was privileged to receive videos as well. They're out there in their tactical gear while my cousin's body is laying down there in the rain, and they're calling for Keith Porter to surrender or shelter in place. You cannot do both, first of all. That's oxymoronic. There was no medical aid rendered. We don't even know if he was already dead or on his last breath and could have at least been saved. After the fact, they never had this officer surrender his service pistol. They never did a sobriety check. They never took him in for proper interrogation. He went back into his home and went to sleep that night. And so from the beginning to the end, there was no value placed on my cousin by this maniac. And there's been no value placed on his life by the police department, by DA Hockman, and by the people who are in position to actually arrest and convict this murderer. The only reason we know who he is now is because of current court filings and litigation, naming him as an abuser, as a racist, and as the man that killed my cousin that night. The people who have witnessed what happened are scared for themselves and scared for their family because we're dealing with a fascist Trump regime. And so here we are. We are doing our best to bring light to what has happened and to get our community and our elected officials to pressure DA Hockman to arrest this man, to press charges, to prosecute him, because he is nothing less than a murderer.
Thank you so much for sharing. So just want to remind you all that, you know, the effort to bring justice for Keith Porter happens not just because of the work of their community, but also by continuing to speak his name. There is definitely a hierarchy in this nation of who deserves to be considered a victim, of who deserves to be considered who is the right kind of victim, right? Like, we've known this. And Destiny, they've asked you to stop with the all caps,
And so like literally if I see you do it one more time, like they're just going to take you out the chat because I don't like all caps. So stop. But I feel like it's something that is so simple that people don't really understand. And I want us to remember, thank you, Destiny. I want us to remember that when we're speaking, we are talking like the language that we are speaking, the words that we're using, there's energy in that, you know, and it disseminates. And, you know, sometimes I'll see people say like, don't speak that into existence. And in some cases, I do understand what that is about, but in other cases, I'm just like, okay, that doesn't apply in this scenario. But for this particular reason, as far as it goes to Keith Porter, his name has to continue to be said because there is something incredibly problematic and ridiculous that people do not see in the fact that this was an extrajudicial killing of an ICE officer in his apartment who put on his ICE gear to legitimize going to take somebody's life. And folks will say, well, yeah, but it's not the same because, you know, Renee and Alex, like they were fighting for the people. It's even more horrific to me that Keith Porter wasn't fighting nobody. He was just a brother at home celebrating New Year's and still felt the wrath of the extrajudicial impunity of ICE. And this is why when Black people love to be like, it's not our issue. Yes, it is your issue. It's always our issue. Every time that there is oppression, we're going to get the worst of it. Keith Porter didn't even sign up to go out there and get murked. And he still took the L. Yes, Olivia, this is a modern day lynching. So miss me with, oh, but he, whatever. No, cut it out. And let's make sure that we are keeping a broader perspective and understanding, because I also want to point out, I'm going to get to this in the PSA, but let me just tell y'all, I don't got a lot of energy for bigging up any white people that go outside. Like, yes, go outside. If for you to get a high quality white rating, you're doing more than just being outside. Okay, so just know that when I hand out high quality white certifications, I'm not giving those loosely. High quality white rating comes from a history and a consistency of co-conspiratorial behavior. I keep seeing people being like, oh my God, you're so brave, to MAGA folks who have come to the other side. I wish a MAGA nigga would come and ask me to give them a pat on the back. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What? Kimberly, I don't call the cops. However, I will call the cops on the cops. You know how drug dealers be calling the cops on other drug dealers? Like, that I would do. Y'all, I had a very bizarre dream last night. I had a dream that I was like on a dating show, and it was like me and another woman, but then we were like standing in front of like two men, and the man in front of me was like super short, and he was kind of like nervous, and then they said their professions, and he said he was a cop, and I was like, oh, it's ACAB for life. I can't do it. F the police. And he started crying and ran out the room. Taylor, it was someone who was Pop the Popo. And I remember, because I have lucid dreaming, so I remember being in the dream and being like, look at this nigga running. Oh man. So this is what I'm dreaming about. Okay. This is what I'm dreaming about. So Little Alphabet said this will be a dating show on Fox now. You can see it, right? You can see it. So let's get into how Black we feel today. Then we're going to high quality white, and then we're going to get into our 60-second headlines. So stick around. We've got more show for you. Don't go anywhere because we're here. We're views from Amanda Landing.
How Black do you feel today?
Western climate diplomats tell me is that leaders like yourself also carry a responsibility. Why are vulnerable countries still so debt-stricken? Why is there still corruption? What is your response to that?
You really want me to answer you?
I do.
Okay. Why is it that every time we talk about countries from the South, the first allegation is corruption? Last time I checked, in the USA and the UK and Europe, they're riddled with corruption, but nobody says that they're not capable of achieving their objectives because of corruption. Why is it that we're not talking about the fact that these countries became independent, having allowed those countries that colonized them to extract significant portions of their wealth, such that we had no proper housing, no proper education, no proper healthcare systems, no proper legal systems, no proper go across the whole stream, and certainly nothing to do with building social capital like community development and cultural enterprises. And what has happened is therefore that we have spent the time since independence trying to give our people what the global north has taken for granted and has supported by the extrication of centuries of wealth to give their people out of our blood, sweat and tears. Now when our blood, sweat and tears finances the Industrial Revolution, and the Industrial Revolution then causes the climate crisis, and then I have to pay for the consequences of the climate crisis because of the Industrial Revolution financed by our blood, sweat and tears, then I think they have no moral authority to tell me anything about the financing of the climate or about why we don't have enough.
Is it anger over this that fuels your energy?
Anger? Absolutely not. Unfairness, lack of justice. They're not angry.
I gotta take a deep breath from Mia Motley right there, who is the Prime Minister of Barbados, because first of all, someone said it like the consent to the read. The fact that she heard all of that and then still went, is it anger? I'm like, I cannot stand y'all. Why are y'all so basic? This is why I get labeled difficult and all these things, because so often I find myself really just irritated by the basicness of the people that I end up having to speak to. That is Mia Motley. She is the Prime Minister of Barbados. But I also want to acknowledge that Barbados and the rest of the Caribbean are operating in the same way that your man's Orina was talking about in Africa, where you have all of these nations that are operating as independent nations, knowing that they are still under colonialist rule by name or by just systems or by debt. And so why is CARICOM, which is the union that was supposed to be created for the Caribbean to work together, is not, why it doesn't function the way it's supposed to, is because it has been infiltrated. Because it's really just created as a functionality for use by the greater systems at work. And instead, what needs to be happening is a pan-Africanism that is happening in a Caribbean unionism. The same way that the pan-Africanists are talking about we need to align with each other, we need to remove these colonialists from our places, is the same way the Caribbean should be talking about that. You know, Jamaica is still owned by the UK. Jamaica is still owned by the British government. That's why they don't have control over their beaches. Okay, you look at Trinidad. Trinidad might as well be owned by the United States because they're capitulating to everything the United States is doing. They end up owning these countries, even if it's not in paperwork, by the deals that they strike, by the debt that they create, by the way that they will corner them out of spaces of trade and force them into these horrible agreements that don't do anything but keep their nation just chomping at the bit and please, sir, more food, sir, at the IMF, the World Bank, and the rest of these countries. So when I see this talk from Yamatli, I appreciate it, but I want it to be more than talk. And I don't see yet any indication that it is not just talk, because that is the thing. It might be happening behind the scenes. I don't know. Maybe they told Dickard and Grenada, don't go telling people about anything you're doing in the airport. Don't tell them you're going to do it or you're not going to do it, because the United States had come to Grenada and said, well, we want to use your airport to do radar surveillance on Venezuela. And to our knowledge, they did not answer it. But who would know? Who would know? And I'm hoping that maybe he was told in a behind the scenes conversation, well, don't do that yet. Don't do it. We're going to have your back for no. Don't do it yet. There's a sanction in place right now that has Grenada not able to sell fish to the United States. My mother used to be able to get Grenada tuna in Publix in Orlando. And this is really, again, the effort of the world banking system to keep people always in need, always in harm, always reliant on whatever they do, because they not only gain power monetarily, but literally spiritually from the pain of people, from harm. Yes. When you look at Star Wars and you're like, when you look at Senator Palpatine, you look at Mitch Strom Thurmond and Mitch McConnell, you're like, how are these people staying alive so long? How are these people staying alive so long? How are these people staying alive so long? And you got to really be asking that question. What are they getting? What is going on that these decrepit walking crypt keepers are able to stay alive so long? Sorry, Brandon. Yeah, Mitt Romney did get astray. Come on, there exactly. Y'all are seeing stuff in here, but Kimberly, yes, Dorian Gray, honey. And the deals are not simply just monetary deals. Let me just tell y'all. I need you to be willing to get magical about things. I need you to be willing to get out of the ordinary. We watch shows that make things seem fantastical that aren't necessarily fantastical. And I need y'all to really allow yourselves to think beyond what you consider to be quote unquote real. Now, many of you all are Christians, so you already have that capability. Okay? You've accepted Jesus turning water into wine. You've accepted Jesus walking on water. You've accepted Jesus putting dirt on somebody's eye and making them see again. So you have already accepted the possibility of things happening outside of the realm of what's the word I'm looking for? Belief. So exactly, Saida. So they put things in movies to make you think it's not real, but the realities are that we really can't be saying things aren't real at this point. We are in no place to be saying, oh, that ain't real, because we ain't never been told the truth. So there has to be a commitment to a willingness to at least consider magical realism. You feel me? We have never known the truth ever since these people came into power. So if we've not known the truth, then we don't stand in any way able to just believe our inability to believe. That don't make no sense. Adrian, please. I do think they're immortal vampires. All I'm saying is that you have to suspend disbelief. It is required. There are going to be other shows that you're going to watch that are going to break down the news for you in a very specific way. I want you to watch Drop Site News. I want you to watch Zateo. I want you to be listening to folks who are going to give you the 1-2 on all of the things that are happening right now. I need you to do that. I also feel that it is imperative that on my show, we are expanding our wonderment in the same space that we are learning about those things. Because if we don't do that, then we are just perpetuating the smallness of our consciousness. And even if our consciousness is expanding on the framework of the real, right? In terms of like, oh, we didn't know about banks. We didn't know about, we didn't know about banks. We didn't know about geopolitical strategies. We didn't know about different organized crime. We didn't know about ways in which secret programs were being used of eugenics, right? Like, even though we didn't know about that, and that's expanding us on this plane, we still got to expand on this plane. We got to do it. And sometimes it feels silly. Sometimes it feels silly. You're like, oh my God, really? That's because you were trained to think that. I genuinely believe this. Because when I look at the past and I see what was made before us, I'm just like, we're hella basic. We are hella basic. When you look at ancient Egypt, what? Hella basic. Super basic. When you see Petra, you're like, we're basic. Like, when you go see Mayan settlements is not the word, but places where the Mayans lived, you're like, oh my gosh, we are so corny. We're over here really feeling ourselves because we're on hoverboards and they don't even really hover. So I have a list of books that I'm going to share with y'all at the end of the show during our critical thinking exercise that are related to the IMF and the World Bank. Okay. So some lists of places that you should be getting some news from: Sabby Sabs, Bad Faith Podcast, Drop Site News, Zateo. That's 4. Okay. That's 4. And they're being listed in the comments. So there you go. 4 sources where you can get the nitty gritty on the Nowski Wowski. I am here as a decolonizer to not only tap you into that, but to tap you into something beyond. Okay? So that's where we at. Yes, Electronic Intifada. I don't list them enough, and I really should. Now, I also want to ask what our bonus question of the day is.
Bonus question. Bonus question. Bonus question. Bonus question. BONUSQUESTION. Bonus question.
You know you love it. So the bonus question today is, how do you seek out the truth? How do you seek out truth? And this can be related to basically anything. How do you seek out truth when you feel you've been lied to by a friend? How do you seek out truth when you've been lied? When you're hold on. When you're looking for facts in an article, how do you seek out truth? Okay, so I want you to drop that in the comments after the show. How do you seek out truth? Now, our high quality white for this week is somebody who was all about seeking out the truth. And let's pay some homage.
Why do the swarthy hordes attack the white people? You don't know. They never tell you. Is it to protect their lands? Is it to protect their herds? Is it to protect their villages and their towns and their families and their children? No, it's just because they like to do that. That's their thing. They like to attack. And so they have to be killed. And by the way, it's not even bravery that they manifest as they charge in great numbers and get cut down in horrible numbers. This is not even bravery, although if similar acts by whites would be portrayed as heroically. This itself is portrayed as a manifestation of their fanatic, crazed way of wanting to bloodlust. Now the trouble with this paradigm is that it turns the history of the last 400 years on its head. That it reverses the roles of usurper and usurped. It reverses the roles of victim and victimizer. It reverses the roles of those who were massacred and those who were doing the massacring. And what these films do is they reverse that history standing on its head. They do what Joseph Goebbels said. They give you a big lie and they embellish it and they make you root for the guys in the wagon train. Now,
Michael Parenti is a Italian American, clearly a New Yorker, who was basically like everyone else who challenges the system. He was blacklisted, he was fired, he was harassed, all the things. And he still was able to live till 92. And he passed away this week, surrounded by friends and family. And I wanted to show you all some of his books that I feel like you would be very beneficial in seeking out. That book talk right there was aligned with Inventing Reality, the Politics of the Mass Media. Some of you all may be familiar with Manufacturing Consent, the famous book by Noam Chomsky, which talks about the same thing. This person, though, was not on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. So, yeah. You can also check out Michael Parenti's The Face of Imperialism. This came out in 2011, as well as Black Shirts and Reds, Rational Fascism and the Overthrow of Communism. And, we lift up Michael Parenti and we lift up his messaging that was very much acknowledging of white supremacy, that was acknowledging of capitalism and how they both go hand in hand. And unfortunately, when we see people, a lot of leftists, they may not do that talking, right? That's something that frustrates me about leftists, sometimes, is that I feel like there isn't enough connectivity between those two things as inextricably linked. However, they are. And unless we are actively saying it on a regular basis, we will not do the work to end it. Now, someone is at my front door. I'll be right back. I want you to watch it again.
Why do the swarthy hordes attack the white people? You don't know. They never tell you. Is it to protect their lands? Is it to protect their herds? Is it to protect their villages and their towns and their families and their children? No, it's just because they like to do that. That's their thing. They like to attack. And so they have to be killed. And by the way, it's not even bravery that they manifest as they charge in great numbers and get cut down in horrible numbers. This is not even bravery, although if similar acts by whites would be portrayed as heroically. This itself is portrayed as a manifestation of their fanatic, crazed way of wanting to bloodlust. Now, the trouble with this paradigm is that it turns the history of the last 400 years on its head. That it reverses the roles of usurper and usurped. It reverses the roles of victim and victimizer. It reverses the roles of those who were massacred and those who were doing the massacring. And what these films do is they reverse that history standing on its head. They do what Joseph Goebbels said. They give you a big lie and they embellish it and they make you root for the guys in the wagon train.
Now, we just talked about how film and TV really gets used to play with you. And, you know, the astrology girlies are letting you know that we are moving into a whole other time. So I'm going to get into that for Level Us Up, which is going to be a bit of a spiritual, astrological talking going on today. All right. So let's get into our 60-second headlines. We're going to get into that a little later. But I feel like we got to run down some 60-second headlines and just make sure that we are up in the up and up of things as they are existing right now.
60-second headlines. And I run down some news right quick.
Run it down, mama. Put us on.
Why didn't it say put us on? That was weird. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I don't know if you all saw this, but Ilhan Omar was attacked. Literally in the middle of speaking, somebody got up and came in her face.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment. I don't know.
Oh my God, he sprayed something on her.
I need a napkin to know nothing. No, we will continue.
No. Ilhan, you need to go get checked. No,
we will continue. These fucking assholes are not going to get away with it.
You need to go get checked. No, you don't know what That's whatever it is smells so bad. She needs to go get checked. I don't know
that's
what that
That's
was.
what they want. Please don't let them know.
It's not about him, Ilhan. It's not about him. It's about your safety. No, he sprayed something on you. You need to go get checked. Yeah, and it smells terrible.
We're going to keep talking. Just give me 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes. I beg you. Please don't let them have the show. Please don't let them have the show. Please don't let them have the show. Here is the reality that people like this ugly man don't understand. We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us.
Okay, so first of all, I think it's very important that we point out that she was squaring up. Okay? Like,
finish my remarks.
Like Ilhan said, Ilhan went after him. It's not funny. I'm more so laughing out of just like impressedness because she said, what? She cocked back, people. And I respect it. What I don't respect is the slowness of her security. I hope Brother Amir watched that. And I need to, somebody got to get fired. If they doing that, what's your point? Why are you here? Okay. But he also played himself because folks really be thinking that Muslim women are for play. Look at these women in Denmark. No. Like what? The women are, we just have to not be for play in general, but I also find it always fascinating when folks feel like there's going to be some type of docileness by doing nonsense. That man kicked that woman. This man sprayed Ilhan. He had so much time to spray her. It pisses me off. It takes me back to when I was doing stand-up and I was in Sacramento. And this man got up in the back row, walked his butt up, and stood on my stage, and nobody stopped him. My homeboy Sheed was there. And I remember looking over, and this mofo was eating French fries. And the guy was literally on my stage saying, I love you, I love you. And he didn't get taken off my stage until I screamed and said, get him off my stage. And when I went backstage after, I walked in, I looked at Sheed, and I was like, yo, what the hell was that? He was like, I know, man. I said, no, I mean you. What the hell was that? You sat there, watched a man walk on my stage, and you didn't even feel compelled to stand up? And he said, I mean, I didn't sense any danger. I need y'all to really know that women, we are so often able to protect ourselves simply because when people are around us to protect us, they don't. That's how so many of us have learned how to protect ourselves. Ilhan Omar is a refugee from Somalia. That's why she know how to do that. Probably because she has either had to deal with it in Somalia or she had to deal with bullying here. That's why she know how to do that. Those women laughing in the face of their oppressor when they kicked them and was manhandling them, they're doing that because they've had to do that. So he probably sprayed skunk water on her, and that's why it smelled bad. I commend Ilhan for saying, nah, F that. We're going to keep going. I've met Ilhan Omar. She's scrappy. She ain't here for nothing. She got jokes too. She got jokes. Like, she's actually like a funny chick. So right now we're seeing politicians have to become either public servants or stay as politicians. And the reality is that they may not get, that option by choice. Kimberly. Y'all, Kimberly Holmes was with me when we was in LA, and a chick tried to run up on me, and I was being respectful at first, and then she had the phone in my face for too long. The phone was in my face too long with her talking crazy. And, I was less healed then. And Kimberly was like, chill. Actually, the entire hood basically was like, chill, and got in front of me. Not facing me, facing that chick. Got in front of me and was like, you're not going to fight Amanda Seales. She been here all day. She got a massage from this woman across. She went and bought some things from them people over there. She went in that store and bought some things and supported them. She was doing the electric slide with us right here. No. She threw her green juice on me and my merch. So it goes down. You are kidding me, Carmen. Amy Klobuchar was asking for campaign donations because her social media was suspended. But this is what I mean. Politicians versus public servants. A mess. Speaking of a mess and politicians, we know that so we need to understand that politicians are put in position to carry out agendas. The higher the level of politician, the higher their adjacency to agenda pressing. So the president, being at the highest level of power in the United States, would be very much about the highest level of pushing of agenda. So it's no surprise that we would see Donald Trump all of a sudden switch up on the Second Amendment. He's he's all of a sudden like, oh yeah, nah, we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be doing that.
With that being said, you know, you can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. You just
What about the Second Amendment?
listen. You can't walk in with guns. You can't do that. But
Read the
it's
caption.
just a very
Slow audio.
unfortunate incident.
What about the Second Amendment, sir?
So I know the audio is pretty trash, but he's saying you can't walk in with guns. You just can't do that. You can't walk in with guns. Well, actually, that's been like the whole jazz of this nation is walking in with guns. Do y'all remember COVID? Do y'all remember these white people standing at the front of state capitol buildings with guns because they didn't want to wear masks? I mean, does anyone remember this? And now you're seeing them do this because, oh, people are fighting back. The Second Amendment has always been in existence until the Panthers started exercising their Second Amendment rights. And when the Black Panther Party when the Black Panther Party started exercising their Second Amendment rights, all of a sudden the NRA was like, no, chill on the guns. Mind you, the NRA has spent truckloads, buttloads, trillion loads of money psyoping this nation into a fear state so that they will continue to buy guns. That's consistently been happening for at least 20 years. Do y'all remember last election when folks was showing up at election booths talking about, oh, we're here to make sure no funny business happens with their guns? The bigger story about this, though, is that I really need y'all to see how the law is flimsy as hell, which is why it annoys me when people are like, sue them. I'm like, please stop. Do you know how much it costs to sue? Do you know how much it requires to sue? Suing at this point is a foolhardy mission. Chaos is descending because the reality is happening in full-blown facts. That's why the reason that there's chaos is not simply because it's being stirred up, but it's because in the stirring up, we're seeing the real deal, which is that the law is made up. It's always been made up. It only applies to those who can affect it. So people with money, people with extortion, blackmail skills, like that's how the law works. We've seen it time and time again. So next up, speaking of the law being completely irrelevant, there is supposed to be a ceasefire happening right now in Gaza and in Israel, and in Palestine. And we know for a fact that that has not been the case. They have violated that ceasefire repeatedly. There are constantly bombs dropping. There are constantly raids happening, and there are people dying every single day in Falesteen. There's a continued inability to get the aid that is supposed to be being let into Gaza. We know that there have been an increased amount of raids happening in the West Bank. And none of this is being reported in the same way that it was before, because they basically put a fake Band-Aid ceasefire on it and called it a day. But the truth is there is much more happening around Falesteen and around their plans for Palestine. So let's see this report from Al Jazeera.
Documents from the U.S. military show a planned community in Gaza described as a Panopticon, where Palestinians would be controlled by biometric surveillance. Dropsite News obtained a leaked presentation detailing the plans. In concept, up to 25,000 Palestinians would be placed in a housing block under full Israeli military surveillance called the Emirati Compound. They would be controlled by biometric screenings and checkpoints. They would use electronic currency that could be monitored, and their schools would promote normalization with Israel. A former UN official, John Whittle, told Dropsite News that the compound is designed to contain a new generation of dispossessed Palestinians effectively screened and corralled into shrinking Israeli-controlled zones in exchange for survival. The UAE is expected to fund the compound, and an anonymous official told The Guardian that the Israeli military has approved the plan. The news came only a week after US President Donald Trump announced the beginning of Phase 2 of the Gaza ceasefire. Israel has continued to bomb Gaza since the ceasefire was announced and has refused to increase the aid coming into Gaza to the amounts Israel agreed to in the ceasefire deal.
I feel like a lot of folks are not realizing that whatever happens in Falesteen is a prequel to what's happening here, even though they are experiencing it in real time right now. We watched for 2.5 years an influx, an increase in not only state-sanctioned violence, but in also a complete disregard for any truth or any fact-telling. Now, everything we watched happening in Palestine has started happening here. We have literally watched 2 people be taken out in broad daylight and then watched the government within the same day make up a completely untrue, unrealistic falsehood about not only what took place, but about those people. So what we're seeing in the United States has been what was happening in Palestine for a very long time. The fight that I don't think we are prepared to fight is that even if we can muster up the physical strength, we don't have the mental strength needed to fight the surveillance battle coming. What you consider freedom was told to you, and you accepted it. You were told that freedom is options. You were told that freedom is having the possibility to be rich. You were told that freedom is being able to travel and come home. You accepted that. Even the fake freedom you've accepted is about to be dismantled and diminished. And we are just genuinely not prepared for what's going to be needed. You know, I hate when people say I'm not tech savvy because they announce it as if it's not something they can handle. They announce it as if it's something they can't change. You have to become tech savvy. It is imperative that that is literally a part of your livelihood. When I watch Star Wars, and I watch Star Wars as an allegorical tale, when people say like, peace be unto you, I'm like, may the force be with you. When I watch these shows, one of the things that I see all the time is that for the most part, everybody knows how to do some basic wiring, right? Like everybody has like a basic understanding of like the world they're in. Whether it's we on spaceships, so we kind of know how to handle a spaceship, or we got droids, so we kind of know how to handle a droid. Like, I don't understand being on Instagram and saying, I'm not tech savvy. I'm really bad with technology. And help me understand, because if I'm being ableist, stop me in my tracks. But I feel like a lot of times it's just more so it's like being obstinate because you just don't want to know. Now, don't get me wrong. When people say that about AI, I don't have the same response because AI is some BS. It's not even what they're saying it is. But, you know, It's like when men would be like, oh, I don't really know how to handle a kitchen. Like, get it together. You don't know how to feed yourself? What? What do you mean? Stop. Stop. So, like FK 4.7 saying, like, I work in tech and I don't know how to use Instagram. If you are not on Instagram, then that makes sense. If you are somebody that is posting content on Instagram, but then you say, I don't know how to use Instagram, I'm confused. If you're in a space, you need to know how to use it because it's using you. When you're utilizing anything, whether it be your car or your computer, you should have a at least cursory understanding of its functionality. And the laziness in the brain that Mawakuda is talking about is real here in the United States. It's so real. It's real in the Caribbean as well. I will also echo the Caribbean. Just this effort of like, well, I don't really need to know that. Somebody else going to do it. Get somebody else to do it. Panopticon in Palestine is absolutely made to learn how to do it in the US and the world for whatever it's worth. That is actual. We can bring it back to the surveillance that the UK was perfecting in Ireland that they were able to then deploy in World War II because they had a controlled population to practice it on. So we owe Palestinians so much. We owe Palestinians so much. And I'm not saying that there aren't people of the world that all serve different purposes, but in this current right now, we have to understand that the sacrifice that Palestinians are being forced to make for us to wake up is something that we have to consistently pay homage to. We have to consistently be at the altar for, because they're not choosing this. They're not deciding to be martyrs. It is simply where they ended up. They were chosen. They're actually the chosen people. They were chosen to be the people that are supposed to lead us all out of this idiocy and ignorance, because they are literally being used by the worst people in the world to enact and to practice and to refine the worst efforts at harming everybody else and the earth. And so when we talk about being savvy, listen, Palestinians be the most savviest of the savvy navies. They be over there doing all types of stuff. The fact that they figured out in a genocide how to keep their phones charged, people, I will never forget, like, how many times I would see Bisan be like, yeah, it took an hour to upload this video, but you kept trying though. Like, and they are indigenous people. So it doesn't surprise me that they're engineers, because that's what indigeneity has been. Humans figuring it the F out wherever they're at. So it doesn't surprise me. Like, I am, again, trying to get us to expand our minds when we are looking at the news in the now, to expand our minds, our empathy, our consciousness. We cannot simply keep learning facts. Remember what Orina was saying about education in Kenya? You're just learning facts. No, you need to figure out how to be living in these facts, living in them. The indigenous communities around the world have been forced to have to reckon with these people forever. Look at Greenland. People think Greenland is white people. No, it's 86% Inuit. They are literally colonized by Denmark.
Serve the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes, Mr. President, you are a true peacemaker, because your threats have actually brought Denmark and Greenland closer together. then, Emma.
Oh, it's too tight.
No dress, come.
Who knew a colony and its colonizer could be friends after all these years of tension?
And I'm not a Danish colonist. I'm just an immigrant, right?
Take responsibility or ice race the ice.
Greenlanders, Danes have always been kind of toxic.
It's like being with someone who lies,
Cheats and has zero morals.
Milana knows what we are talking about, right?
All things considered, there's nothing as unifying as a common enemy.
That's how you make peace. You want peace. A little piece of Venezuela, a little piece of Greenland.
You goddamn piece of shit!
Vi har lige aftalt, at vi skal gøre som de danske politikere. Ikke tale med for store bogstaver, okay? Ja, han er en kæmpe lort. Don't trust the subtitles! Stupid subtitles! Yes, Denmark deserves the Nobel Prize, but you, Mr. President, deserve the Nobel Prize for uniting us against you.
Still too tight.
No, it's not.
Listen, if anything, what we learned, thank you, Cheeto, because I don't know about y'all, but I didn't know what was going on in Greenland. I did not know that they had all of these folks in Greenland. I did not know. They said, baby, we are colonized. Denmark is all the way over there. We are colonized. 86% Inuit. 86% Inuit. And, you know, again, indigenous folks and indigenous knowledge is what protects the earth that we're on. It's not something I'm saying that just sounds like really like oozy wazy. It's real. They just said that the protected lands that the bison are grazing on in Montana are no longer going to be protected because it goes against their productivity plan. So basically that land that the bison, which of course are very protected animals in the indigenous groups from that part of the world, the bison no longer can eat. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but there was also an entire massacre of bison that the U.S. did so that they could prevent those indigenous people from having food. And this is when we talk about like what white people's responsibility is right now. Like that's what we're saying. Like stuff like that, white people, we need you to be out there. We need you to be out there. Because the realities are consistent, and yet there's so many white people that have not known about the realities. And so we have to remind you, and like this is a reality, Greenland, that I didn't even know about. I didn't even know about Greenland in that way. Now, a reality that I know a lot of us have seen coming has arrived officially tishly. Get off of TikTok.
At this point, TikTok has basically become Israeli spyware.
This is from Mint Press News. TikTok is being run by a bunch of Unit 8200 agents, which is the Israeli version of the NSA. Root Medallion, who works on the trust and safety team on TikTok, based in New York. And would you look at that? Israeli Military Intelligence Unit 8200. Here's another one. Omer Carmeli, Global Marketing at TikTok, former Field Operations Specialist, IDF Elite Intelligence Unit. Einav Mir, Client Solutions Manager at TikTok, and she used to be, would you look at that, a Web Intelligence Analyst for the Israeli Military Unit 8200. Probably just a coincidence, right, guys? Okay, this is important information to know. Former Unit 8200 agents working hand in hand with the Israeli National Security State have gone on to create some of the world's most notorious malware and hacking products. A case in point is the Pegasus software used to spy on more than 50,000 journalists, politicians, diplomats, business leaders, and human rights defenders. That is not ideal, to say the least, but has always been the goal from the very beginning. Just look at their new terms of service, which will collect basically everything from your phone, including now your medical information. Look, I'm not going to say that TikTok wasn't spyware before when it was owned by the Chinese, but the new masters have officially taken it to a whole nother level here.
Did James Lee get fined? Did he get like a haircut? Or like new glasses or something? Has he always had that beard? I feel like I never, he's been fine the whole time? Huh. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he took the hat off. He used to wear hats. I was like, no, there's something different because I'm seeing a jaw in a different, I'm seeing like a whole different aesthetic here. Huh. Okay. Good for you, James Lee. We had no idea you was fine under that head. And James Lee be giving us the tea. Giving us the tea. All right. Now I'm giving you all the tea that you can now follow me on Upscrolled. I am officially there. And I mean, I'm going to delete TikTok. I've never cared about TikTok anyway, but Kimberly, why you look like that? Why you look like that? Why he look
Point
like that?
TikTok has basically become Israeli spyware.
Okay,
This is from Mint Press News. TikTok is...
Yeah, it was the hat. It was the hat. It was the hat, y'all. See, I know I be knowing. Okay, but back to Upscrolled. Upscrolled is Palestinian owned. Jolene said there have been some people that have come in and start trouble already, of course, but it's getting there after the influx, you know, because that's the other thing about technology. Like, I mean, they're not expecting. I don't think they were expecting, but you can never really do what you can. You never really can prepare as much as you think you might, because it always ends up being like nonsense. So shout out. And I agree with you, Fruity and Human. This is And. I agree with you. I think IG is doing all the same things. I'm on my way off of IG. I've started posting more free content on Patreon. So basically the way my Patreon is working is that you'll be able to see videos as a free member, but you will not see everything. All right. So you will get previews of the things that you can only see as a paid member, but you'll get access to the things that you can see. Blue Sky feels too much like Twitter, and I've done my time with Twitter. I've done my time. I tried to get on Blue Sky and I was just like, ugh, I can't. So now basically they just get clips. What other comments we got? I feel you, Kimberly. I mean, I'm still there by habit and by people wanting me to be there, but I'm moving, y'all. So if you do not follow me on Patreon, you should. It is a $5 subscription if you want to be supportive on the financial side, but you can still go there as a free Patreon subscriber. You can also support, you can also go over to Upscroll. Follow me at Upscroll. And the biggest thing I want everyone to do is to sign up for my newsletter. That really is the thing that I need everyone to do. Sign up for my newsletter. Because the way we're not going to get noticed when it's a wrap. I just want y'all to understand this. It's not going to be like, hey guys, we're getting rid of this. Hey guys, the reason why these things are still existing is because these folks are still making money off of them and they're still able to use them as a psyop. But when they figure out another method of doing that, they'll just get rid of it. And I think people need to really grasp that. So that's why we have to continue watching and keeping our sharpness about our pattern recognition. Okay. The last story that we have in our did we have another? I feel like we had one more story in our yes. Let's do some Black Earth news. How about that?
Black Earth news. Politics. Black Earth news. Pop culture. Black Earth news. Sports. Black Earth news. Justice.
Tom Homan is different from Greg Bovino and these folks on the streets that are just amateurs.
No, we're not doing this again. And I want to log on just to say that and make that clear. I need that to be abundantly clear. We are not doing this cycle again. We're not doing this again. This is literally a cycle of abuse that the American population is subjected to by the U.S. political establishment, Democrat and Republican. I don't say left and right because these are both far right parties, and we need to understand that. Okay, there's no functional left within the United States government. That's another long video I'm not going to get into right now. But what we have in power are two fascist parties. It's two flavors of fascism. Both flavors kill you at the same rate, regardless of who is in power. Okay? Because there is no opposition to what is happening. There's no real opposition to what is happening, because when it comes down to the bare bones of what the issue is, the issue being that all of our tax money is taken and spent on murderous police forces and genocide and war crimes, when we need it spent on things like healthcare and childcare and transportation and roads and bridges and, just like the basic things of like a developed society, right? When it comes to that issue, there's no daylight there. There's no daylight there. We've just seen two people murdered in broad daylight by federal agents. And the response from the Democrats is that they just need better training. Okay? This is not about training. This is not about personnel. This is not about swapping one person out for another. This isn't even really about Donald Trump at the end of the day. This is about a system of violence that has persisted for a very long time and has now reached a point that we can no longer look away. As Black people, we were never able to look away, right? But now it is impossible for anyone to look away because all of the violence that has been exported abroad is coming full circle, is coming back home. And what we see as it comes back home, as it reaches Main Street America, is what? The same lack of response from the Democrats. I have mad respect for the folks in Minnesota. Let me say that first and foremost, okay? And I'm not surprised because I remember. But the fact is, you have a Democratic governor of the state saying he's going to give the benefit of the doubt. The benefit of the doubt to the Trump administration. That's the takeaway. He stands up and he says that he wants to see accountability. Well, has there been an arrest warrant issued? Have either the state or the city issued an arrest warrant? You don't need an investigation before you arrest someone in a situation like this. And if you were serious about the investigation, you would want that person to be arrested and in custody as soon as possible so you can start getting like basic evidence, right? Okay, I'm going to go back to the abusive family dynamic analogy, right? We are the scapegoats. We're the scapegoats because we are the ones who say what the reality is, right? You've got, again, the Republicans are the drunken father who stumbles in the house and beats on the kids. And the Democrats act like the mom who kind of looks the other way because what's most important is upholding the image, right? We have to uphold this image that we are a functioning constitutional republic, that we are the beacon of democracy, that we have all of these things, that we're not the savage murderers that we are, right? We have to hold up that image. And so we end up being the scapegoats. The leftists, the activists, the people who say what it is are the scapegoats. We're the problem because we're saying the reality. We are naming the abuse. We're naming the abusive dynamic, and we're saying that something has to change. And then the response is, oh, well, you just hate everybody. You're angry. You're just, all you do is you complain about the Democrats. Well, you just try to beat, well, the Democrats do something for us. Okay. Can we we got to be real now. We got to be real. The question of well then, okay, so then what do we do? Baby, not the same thing. Not the same thing. You don't keep doing the same thing over and over and over.
My girl, Bree Newsom. So Bree Newsom is an organizer and a director and an incredible person. You can check out her episode of Small Doses podcast. What was it? Side Effects of Resistance, I want to say. I don't know if y'all remember when South Carolina was flying the Confederate flag and someone climbed up the flagpole and took that flag down. That was Bree Newsom. She's brilliant. She's lovely. She's also the first person I ever ate Ethiopian food with. She took me to an Ethiopian restaurant when I was in North Carolina. And, I love Bree because we say the exact same thing. She delivers it differently, and folks need to hear it in all many different ways. And the truth of the matter is that when we're talking about this overarching concept of, who is in power and who controls, and we talk about someone like Tim Walz, we go back to what Orina said, right? Which is they have love. And when you see the people who are in power in the United States, whether it even be your local city council members or the president, you understand that they don't have love. They don't have a people. You should go and check out Laura Chung's last video on the YouTubes about Neptune coming into the next 14-year transit. And we're going to talk about that shortly, but she reads a quote from Resmaa Menakem's book, My Grandmother's Hands, and which talks about the fact that people just really, white people, they don't have a connection to culture. Side effects of radicalism. Thank you. That makes sense. And so there's always this desire to be connected because folks want to be connected, but they aren't. So then that's how they get kind of scooped up into these other places. I want to make sure though that we always platform resistance. We have all of this frustrating news on a regular basis. However, we have to remember that, like Bree said, we cannot do the same thing that we've been doing. And so it's been really, it's been really good just seeing folks standing up in a myriad of ways and becoming innovative in real time against the forces that are against us.
I'm being arrested because Hilton is housing ICE. They are profiting off of ICE.
DHS officers from outside of the state of California that don't seem to know that grabbing people on the city street is a state crime. Good evening. We're documenting, and there's been a lot of really interesting developments. As of right now, a 3-pack has declared open carry ban in California is unconstitutional. The moment that gets signed, we get to open carry like in Texas. Oh shit! And now we're gonna play like y'all play back home. So do yourselves a goddamn favor, respect my goddamn city streets, and leave my people the fuck alone!
Motherfuckers, man. Good morning.
Good morning.
What the fuck you guys want? I'm on my way to work. Fuck you, bitch. Fucking fat lame motherfucker. Fucking working with the white man like a little bitch.
This is the club for the white man. Relax. Okay, relax. I did not enter. If you touch me, I will grab you. If you touch me, I will grab you. Okay. You can let. Okay, well, don't touch me. Yeah, okay. You can let. Alright, so go. You can let enter. This is the consulate. This is the foreign government property. You can let enter. Alright, close the door. Bye. Yeah, over there. Alright. Yeah.
Tell you this, brother.
What?
You know, I will tell you this. You raise your voice, I raise your voice.
If I raise my voice, you'll erase my...
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Are you serious? You said if I raise my voice, you'll erase my voice?
Since Sunday, I've had over 300,000 real Chicagoans reach out to me and express their anger that instead of plowing the streets, you are out protesting ICE. Your rhetoric has been encouraging people to rise up and fight ICE. Many people say that that is the cause of the violence, the real violence against federal agents and law enforcement. There's also a concern that in light of this report that Governor Walz in Minnesota, that people in his office are actually coordinating these violent anti-ICE protests.
Please ask the question.
Anyone? Yeah, I'm trying to ask the question.
Thank you.
Please, if you wouldn't mind not interrupting me while I'm asking my question.
Ask it. Thanks.
So the question is, people are wondering if anyone in your office is coordinating with these ICE protesters to coordinate protest and violence against federal law enforcement.
Well, first of all, let me again just commend the efforts and the work of the city employees that made sure that our streets were plowed and that we had warming centers available for individuals who were either unhoused or just need that type of assistance and support. Those hardworking men and women served this city honorably. So no one was stuck. No one had to be dug out. They were able to go to work and children were able to go to school. You know, as far as using my platform to speak out against an administration that's murdering people in the streets, that's well within my right and my authority in this moment. And quite frankly, any notion to suggest that somehow that peaceful protest and the petitioning of this government is somehow antithetical to who we are as a democracy, I will call into question how much that person actually loves this country. In fact, to not protest in this moment will be a derelict of duty, particularly at a time where we see the rise of tyranny and fascism that threatens the sensibility of our humanity. So of course, I'm going to use my platform as those who have come before me to make sure that we have a democracy that works for all people. Working people are struggling right now in this moment, and they are afraid and they have a great deal of anxiety because of what this administration is doing, taking food assistance away from people, taking housing opportunities away from people. Healthcare costs continue to go up. So the protest, I believe, has to match the energy, quite frankly, that's coming from the White House. So yes, I'm going to continue to encourage people to rise up, lift their voices up against this authoritarian rule, because if we do not do that, all of us will be subject to the type of harm and cruelty that this administration wants to continue to spread against the hardworking people of this country.
Now, you know that man had to go look up dereliction. You know he had to do it. And I love this comment under Mayor Brandon's page. Like, the sadist delusion that white supremacy creates is always fascinating to watch, because it makes them think that they are really like that girl. And so then they come into this man's press conference like, I'm that girl. And then they come and say to this man, who is a very educated man, who comes from the education system, they talk to him like he's not going to clown your entire existence and eat you right on up like a bento box. Okay? I mean, that was such a read. Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, ways to know and things to grow, reading rainbow. I will clown anyone who comes through and talks boo-boo, reading rainbow, reading rainbow, reading rainbow, reading rainbow. Read him down. Read him down. And I'm so glad he did it. You know, I'm so glad he did it because it's like, this is, by the way, what a public servant looks like. This is what love of your people actually looks like, by the way. This. And I saw someone do a really great video about Tim Walz, and she was like, you know, there's many people saying like, well, what's Tim Walz supposed to do? And she was like, well, here's a list. And one of the things that she listed was, why isn't he doing daily press conferences? Factory. How do you have time to go on a podcast? How? Why are you not doing daily press conferences? Why are we not seeing you every single day giving a rundown of what it is? You know why? Because you're compromised. Because you're compromised. And if you actually put yourself out there, then we're going to see what you're really about. And so you can't let that happen. That's what's really happening. Well, are y'all ready to level up? Are y'all ready to lean in? Lean into the vibes. Are y'all ready? If y'all are ready to level up, let me know. Put some stars in the chat. Put some stars in the chat. Let's cleanse our energy. Let me go get some sage real quick. All right. So I started following this lady on the Instagram. She actually follows me. And to be quite honest, her Scottish accent just like drives home her message even more. So we're gonna I feel like we should bring out Topper Shanks for this. But if I do, it'll feel like I'm joking. And it's like, no, I need y'all to take this serious. So let's tap in with the Glasgow Witch and level up real quick.
Are still in the dark half of the year. Still resting. But Imbolc is on the way. Imbolc means in the belly, the first warmths, the quiet knowing that something is beginning to stir. This is where we prepare, not by rushing forward, but by clearing space. This is simple, energetic hygiene. Simple, daily, supportive. Ready? Let's center. Breathe in. I have arrived. I am home. I have arrived. I am home. I have arrived. I am home. Let's ground. Breathe in. The energy of the earth runs through me, and I am grounded to her. The energy of the earth runs through me, and I am grounded to her. The energy of the earth runs through me. I am grounded to her. Let's shield. Breathe in. I am surrounded by ancestral protection. I am safe. I am surrounded by ancestral protection. I am safe. I am surrounded by ancestral protection. I am safe. Center, ground, shield, every single day.
How was that for y'all? Now, when she talks about the I've arrived, I am home, right? When she talks about I am connected to the power of the earth, I am the earth. When she speaks about I am surrounded by ancestral energy, I am safe. I think of that as my physical body. You know, so much of the world that we are existing in has been controlled and modified and synthetically created to disconnect us. So trying to connect to that, I feel, becomes antithetical. However, the body that I'm in was created from the effort of cells. When we say I am home, I've arrived, I think of that as my soul being at home in my body. And thus I have come to accept my body for the ways that it can be changed. You know, it's the AA serenity prayer. I accept my body in many ways. There's things that can't be changed. My feet is going to be flat, y'all. My feet is going to be flat. There are things that can be changed. I need to eat certain foods. I need to physically move certain ways, right? Regardless, this is the home that my soul is in. And so I am home. Then when she talks of centering, the earth is powerful. I am connected to the earth's power. I am the earth. Yes. Yes. You are the earth. Your physical body is comprised of that which comes from the earth. Water, metals, minerals. This is you. This is why we see so much imagery of ourselves in nature, right? This is why a seedling looks just like a new nerve ending, right? When she talks about shielding, I'm surrounded by ancestral knowledge and protection. I am safe. Our cells are all knowing, meaning every cell in our body knows every other cell. It knows what every cell knows of our body. We are comprised of cells that come from other cells. So we are physically made up of all-knowing cells that have been passed down through the ages. So when we talk about, when she says, I am surrounded by ancestral knowledge, I don't think of that as out there. I think of that as physically here. Think of it as physically here. My soul is surrounded by physical knowledge that is in the cells of my frame that is protecting it. Now, we find ourselves in, you know what, Elijah? My team. We find ourselves in a time that the astrology girlies are acknowledging as very, very specific. This is Neptune in Aries. Now, let's talk about, oh, Elijah, I know you're serious because I'm going to start doing the same thing. Let's talk about what Neptune in Aries means. Starting January 26th, Neptune moved into Aries, and it stays there for the next 14 years, which is a long time in astrology. For Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn. And this is from the page Astrology is for Everyone. Just so if you want to go check it out on IG. Astrology is for Everyone. Okay. Neptune dissolves. For Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn, anger doesn't get ignored anymore. It gets examined. Neptune dissolves its old ways that we've dealt with. Neptune dissolves the old ways we've dealt with it, and Aries brings it right to the surface. For these signs, Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn, the work is learning how to stay kind without becoming passive and how to stay strong without burning everything down. This is about turning frustration into endurance and realizing that sometimes kindness isn't weakness, it's leverage. Neptune moving into Aries, y'all, is about facing things head on. For my Cancers, we're going to realize that we don't need to keep holding things together for people who won't meet us halfway. This is about my mother. The leadership here is emotional honesty. Saying no without explaining yourself and even letting discomfort exist. That boundary setting is something others will learn from you. Libras, you're done smoothing things over just to avoid discomfort. This chapter teaches you that fairness sometimes requires disappointment, and honesty doesn't have to mean you're cruel. Watching you choose integrity over approval, ding, 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 shows others how to stay kind without disappearing. For all the Caps, you've been the reliable one for a long time. Neptune asks you to release the idea that everything is yours to fix. As you lead from values instead of pressure to be seen as successful, people will start to see a different model of authority. Are you listening to this? One that doesn't require constant sacrifice. Aries, you're learning that not every battle needs force to be won, and that walking away can sometimes hit harder than staying in the argument. Over the next few years, people will watch how you choose restraint without losing your fire. That balance becomes the lesson you teach others, whether you mean to or not. So according to this site and others that I have listened to, Astrology is for Everyone, they're saying that the zodiac signs chosen to lead the spiritual revolution for the next 14 years are Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. And if you think, well, I'm none of those, so it doesn't matter, if you are a rising of any of those, you're included, as well as if you're a moon, because if your moon is in any of those, and this is me showing off what I learned in Laura Chung's astrology class, The moon represents the people. The sun represents like power structure, like the power, like the government, the governance, etc. The moon represents the people. So if we are moving into a time of spiritual awakening, of systems being dismantled, that has to happen via the people. So with the moon is representing the people, then baby, if you are any of those things, Aries, Cap, Libra, or Cancer in as a moon sign, this includes you too. The other part of this is also that regardless of if you're any of those signs, it all includes all of us. Because we all have to be in clarity of where we are in this time. And one of the things I want to remind you all is that when people say there's always been unprecedented times, that is not true. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. Those were not unprecedented times. That was literally the Twilight Zone. We had blackness all around us. Black people were getting rich because of the crack epidemic. Hip hop was speaking like people's actual experiences loudly and was a world phenomenon. We grew up in the Twilight Zone. It was never like that before us, and it ain't been like that since us. So, for our millennials, we have a very unique existence that we are living, that we lived through to carry us into this time. I'm an 81 baby right here. So as the Glasgow witch said, every day, you are centering, you are grounding, and you are shielding. You are centering, you are grounding, you are shielding. Every daggone day. Amanda Land. Let's get it. Now, before we get into the critical thinking exercise, I will say that we have been doing, we've really taken in a lot today. So shout out to everybody who is just now joining us. It's 1:24 p.m. Eastern right here on the East Coast. This is Views from Manland, your home for news and truths by any joke necessary. Thank you for waking up on the right side of history. We've been taking in a lot of information. And so I just felt like, you know what, let me just give you all a little quick energy break. Oh. For those of y'all who are members of the SEAL Squad on Patreon, you know I love a palate cleanse. Y'all, ever so often I will post a palate cleanse. It might be animals. It might be just something, you know, beautiful, but it'll just be for the sake of like, you know, let's just take a moment. All right. Let's just take a moment. Let's just take a moment to shout out Anna, who said this is their first time on live. She is Mexican, living in Mexico, scared of the talk of invading. I don't know if you've talked of your opinion on this. One thing I know about Mexicans is that y'all don't play. So I really don't think you should be scared of the invading. At this point, here's what I'm going to say about everything, everybody. Being scared at this point is like it's like expecting the dude who keeps cheating on you to stop cheating on you. It's silly. It's pointless. Like we can't even. Okay, I don't want y'all to be like, Amanda, you're being mean. I'm not saying that the fear isn't real. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying we got to get good at alchemizing that fear into something more, into something useful. Because otherwise, what it does is it serves the goal of the colonizers. They want us to be fearful so that we will forget. So that we'll forget the things that actually, the realities that live in the cells that I was just talking about, that live in our bodies. We come from a better time. So we have to learn, like Hempresent says right here, we got to learn to detach from that fear and attach it to something that's more useful. It's just not purposeful. It's not valuable. It becomes useless energy. I said this before, maybe on the show, or maybe it was on one of the morning musings, but when you find out, when you realize that there might be something wrong with you, right? The first thing is fear. Oh my God, what could happen? What could happen to my kids? What could happen to my animals? What could happen to me? That's the first thing that happens. But have you noticed that the minute you actually take effort into seeing what's going on, you start to feel like, okay, I'm doing something. Okay, hey, I'm doing something. And that quickly you moved from paralysis to praxis. Our bodies know of a better time. They do. I know because I dream about it. I feel it. I draw it. It comes out in my joy. People ask me all the time, like, Amanda, how you have such a good mood all the time? And it's like, I don't have a good mood all the time, but I'm a joyous person because I really do believe that there were joyous times. And I don't believe that off of some mystery. I feel that. Like in my bones. I feel that. We know of a better time, but they want you to forget. So my Mexicana hermana, don't let them let you forget. And in Mexico, I mean, you all come from so much in the soil. The Oaxacans. Do you know? Like it's there in the soil. Also, like Mexicans do not play. Again, Mexicans do not play. One more time. Mexicans do not play. Like, they don't play. Mexicans don't play. If you've ever known a Mexican, you know they don't play. I've never met a Mexican that played. Even if they were playing on the wrong side, they were still not playing. That's the part that's so frustrating. Okay? You know what, Isabel? It's football. It's football. So, you know, the thing about their president is that she is Claudia Sheinbaum. And in this day and age, I feel like people's Zionism be popping out when you least expect it. And so I'm hoping not to see hers pop out. Because what's happening right now is we are seeing the power structure come to life even louder. And that's what I want to talk about for our critical thinking exercise. So I saw this quote from a tweet where someone said, Ish is so bad. Ish is so bad. Switzerland officially took a side. Ish is so bad. Switzerland officially took a side. Now, people were under this tweet and they was like, oh my God, for real. Yes. And that looked like a tweet that ate him up. However, what I want folks to understand is that Switzerland has never had to take a side because Switzerland is the source. The reason why Switzerland has been considered neutral is because Switzerland is base. That's where the Masons are in the Masons headquarters, the IMF, and the World Monetary Fund. They all exist in the same building in Switzerland. So they've always been neutral because they are the home base. That's literally the home of the Rothschilds. Like, that's the bank. That's where it all pops off. Okay? Now, then you have other places in the world that have been utilized to carry forth the efforts, right? Because you can't just have one trap house. You got to have several. Anyone anyone who knows anything about trapping, and that's what banks are, trappers, knows that you can't have all of your goods in one trap. You can't. It's not smart, because if they run up on you, now they got everything. I just rewatched it. I just rewatched Euphoria. And when homegirl was tripping, when Rue was tripping, she was like, Fez, you got something? He says, nah, I don't keep nothing at the house no more. I don't keep nothing at the house no more. So the trap has many different spots. The United States is the muscle. You can't be a good trapper without some muscle. Okay? The United States is the muscle. All right? Israel is the kitchen. That's where you cook it up. That's where you get the perfect combination to keep your population still coming back for more, but not all the way dead. Anybody who's ever watched anything about drugs knows that there's no value in having a bunch of people that can't take the drugs you're selling them. Side note, Rishla, best part. Bitch, is this play about us? So, when we are looking at the powers that be, and we say, oh, the United States is doing this, United States is doing that, I want us to just take a more expansive look at how the world is operating right now. So we have Germany that has taken on their anti-quote unquote Zionist stance so strong, you can't even say from the river to the sea.
Why?
Say the river sentence, please.
I didn't say it. I just say from the river, but not from the river to the sea.
You said that 2 times. Please stop it. Otherwise, we have to arrest you again.
Okay.
Yeah? Please stop it.
So what shall I say?
Not this sentence.
To the beach.
No, don't say that. It's forbidden. The sentence is forbidden. Don't say it again.
And we get arrested.
Yeah, I don't want to do it, but it's forbidden in Germany, and I have to arrest you.
Now, that's in Germany. Okay? That's in Germany. Where she's literally like, so I just can't say the phrase? Now remember, this is all within the context of Zionism as a world power. Okay? So that's Germany. We have a French activist who was literally just sentenced to 15 years. 15 years in prison in the UK. Sorry, in France. Sorry, 15 months. Sorry, she was just sentenced to 15 months in French prison for posting social media posts that support resistance. 15 months? So when you see Netanyahu and you see Hillary Clinton and you see, these folks saying social media is really the most important thing, it's the most important thing, you ask your questions and you're like, what is going on? You have Umar Khalid, who is in England, who is one of the hunger strikers, and he literally just ended his hunger strike because he was about to die. And they was literally about to let this man die in prison. The hunger strikers in the UK prison are being held for running up on, I think it's Albert Systems, which is a weapons manufacturer. And they are literally just in prison the same way that the Israelis are imprison Palestinians with no actual charges or case, etc. They're just there. So we just named Germany, France, the UK. We already know about the US.
Why?
So these are 4 nations that are all creating incredible crackdowns and that are absolutely in alignment around one major issue, which is that you cannot say nothing about Zionism. So how? No, Germany is not sensitive about Israel because of the Holocaust. Don't believe the hype. That's not what that's about. The reason why the radical leftists won't discuss Palestine's oppression in Germany is because they are still being repressed under Zionism. And the truth is that them folks never really, it's not that they're sensitive about the Holocaust. It's that they were taught that the Holocaust was not bad. And that the Holocaust was bad. And they were taught like Jewish supremacy in ways that even people who study Judaism were not, which then became Zionism. So it's not about like, oh, we are really just trying to uphold like our correctness in doing better than what was done before. That's not really what it's about. So when we ask ourselves the bigger picture question of what's going on right now, we cannot simply just take things as bar none. This statement, shit so bad Switzerland officially took a side, is in reference to Switzerland going, you know what, we're not for the United States at the Davos conference. All right. Now, I just want to present this as a theory to you all. The United States is literally self-sabotaging right now. Okay? In that, you have to ask yourself, well, why? Why is it self-sabotaging? Like, what is the value of the United States being done? Why is that useful to anyone? And I would say that it is useful to a system that wants to expand its power. The United States pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord is not something to be taken lightly, because it's an act of literal defiance, and it continues the chaos. So like the United States is literally just having a tantrum. So if it's having the tantrum, who's causing the tantrum? So many people think that Donald Trump is like somewhere making decisions. This is not a smart man. He is not a strategist. He is not a tactic. He is not. He is a puppet. This is the system that the world runs under. Puppets that are put in place to carry out the goal of the banking system. And even Israel is a puppet. I have an ex who used to say, everybody got somebody they don't want to see. And you just got to find out who that person is to deal with the real problem. And that is my frustration with folks right now. People do not realize that we are not addressing the real problem. It's not even the US billionaires. The problem is the banking systems. And every time I say it, I'm putting myself in danger, but I'm just not the kind of person who cannot say the thing that has to get said. And apparently it's a part of my astrological duty to do so anyway. The banking systems are absolutely at the root of everything. And the people who run the banking systems are at the root. Now, here are some books that you can read to get you boned up with a little bit more and a lot more information, because it's really dense. So, it's like you can't just read it and now you know. Like, you got to keep reading, keep learning, keep expanding, all the things. This one is a classic. Confessions of an Economic Hitman. He even did a new one called New Confessions. So he added 15 more chapters. Now remember, a lot of the times this information comes from white people who been a part of the nastiness the whole time. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? I can't do it no more. Something wakes them up. Hidden Repression. How the IMF and World Bank Sell Exploitation as Development. This is by Alex Gladstein. Now, I will tell you, I actually don't know if Alex Gladstein is a Zionist, but if the title says that, you're going to get something out of it. Next up, Thomas L. Friedman, The Lexus and the Olive Tree, Understanding Globalization. Globalization is just a nice little like kind of like chill word for global theft. And the last one, The Creature from Jekyll Island, a second look at the Federal Reserve. This book breaks down the banking system. And at the beginning of the book, they literally tell you this is the best way to read the book. They want you to understand. They want you to understand. We are existing in a much longer timeline than Americans seem to be able to grasp. The timeline is longer than the existence of the United States. The timeline has existed before the United States. The timeline began at the end of the Roman Empire. And you have to ask yourself, well, did they do this same thing at the end of the Roman Empire? Was it just a transition to try to get more access to more resources then too? Because for what it's worth, it all boils down to really just a death wish for the earth. And that whole thing about love, that's not something to be taken lightly. Love is an action that requires you to be able to show up and to try to see things from other people's perspectives, etc. When you love your people, you protect them, period. Oh no, Shirley passed? Shirley Raines was someone I met in around 2023 as an organizer and somebody who was providing food and resources to the people down in Skid Row in Los Angeles, which is a very compromised community that is not supported by the government that we pay money to support them with. It's riddled with a lot of drug use and, folks self-medicating because they don't have access to mental health support, etc. And so she's also gone down to San Diego, and she was going up to the Bay, and she came on my show Small Doses. And she came on Small Doses, and we had a really lovely interview and a lovely time talking about the work that she's doing and what got her into the work. also talking about her pain. She lost a child that she, continues to blame herself for, and it led her to drug use and just a consistent battle to alchemize her self-hatred into outward help and altruism. And I donated to her multiple times, and she always remained consistent and hopeful, even when people were using her, even when people were disrespecting her. She stayed the course. She stayed the course. Sometimes in death, I want y'all to know, like, what we may be losing as folks who are still here on earth, that person may be gaining in relief. And I don't know if Miss Shirley, I don't know the circumstances of her passing. But I do know that she was a soul that was very, very in pain. And the first thing that came to me when I saw this was she gets to see her son. Those souls will get to connect again. So when I say rest in peace to Miss Shirley, I mean that. Literally. I'm just going to make that my public seals announcement, y'all. We're going to head on over to the after show kickback. And hold on, because I feel like I can try and pull up a clip for y'all real quick. This show becomes such a space that is so it exists in so many multitudes, because it really is a place where I try my best to balance the amount of life that we're living all at once, and being able to do that with you all in real time is something I don't take lightly at all. And I'm glad that we are able to be here together in these moments and able to share them. And, Shirley Raines is the best of us, because she's somebody who genuinely was like, I am having a terrible time in the world, and it's not going to stop me from being my best in the world. And that's what I mean by alchemizing, right? Like that's what I mean by taking your fear and alchemizing it into something valuable. And, you know, that's not always going to be possible, but I think the effort is something worth denoting. And, you know, Shirley Raines is a great example of that, of somebody who said, you know, she sat on my couch. She sat on my couch and she said, you know, I really have a tough time. And I feel very fortunate to have gotten to spend time with somebody who was doing that work, because I feel like that's the type of stuff that you can't just make up. You need to see it modeled. And I was very fortunate to get to experience that in real time with her. I was able to see it modeled in real time. And you know, so we will continue to lift her up and lift those up who are living and modeling in real time what that is. I'll see you all in the kickback, and I'll see you next week. Rest in peace to Miss Shirley Raines. Seconds of stillness. Amanda.